Are we good? Okay, perfect. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Dania Beach. This is our City Commission regular meeting, Tuesday, April 9th, 2024, just after 7 p.m. Can we please have a roll call, clerk?
Yes. Mayor Ryan?
Here.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Here.
Commissioner Davis?
Here.
Commissioner James?
Here.
Commissioner Salvino?
I'm here.
City Attorney Bootsas? Here. City Manager Garcia?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, clerk. Let's all take a moment to bow our heads for a moment of silence. Thank you. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, item 3.1 for presentations is, this one is sponsored by our Vice Mayor Lori Llewellyn, and this is for Mayor Frank Ortis of Pembroke Pines. We know you're a seasoned vet already. You got to wait a second now, Mayor.
Oh, okay.
He's taken over.
Yeah.
So I have had the pleasure in the last 6 years or so of working here and there with a number of mayors throughout the county and actually throughout the state. And one of them has been Mayor Frank Ortis, who has been in Pembroke Pines for a number of years and just very recently retired. As we all know, it takes a lot of your time, a lot of sacrifice to be in public service, and we all appreciate that. So as a result, I thought it would be appropriate for us to honor you in your retirement and thank you for all your service.
Thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and just read this little background, the bio that we got from Pembroke Pines. Okay. Mayor Ortis was elected to the Pembroke Pines City Commission in 1996 and served as vice mayor in 1998 and 2002. After serving 2 terms as city commissioner, he was elected mayor of the city of Pembroke Pines in 2004 and served 5 terms as mayor, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020, until his retirement just this past month. Mayor Ortis served on numerous boards and committees, including the board of the Broward and Florida League of Cities, the Florida League of Cities Legislative Policy Committee, chair of the United States Conference of Mayors, Committee on the Jobs, Education, and the Workforce, the USCM Vice Chair for Sports and Recreation, Tourism, Arts, Park, Entertainment, and Sports, and the USCM Advisory Board, as well as on the Broward County Workforce One Development Board and on the board of the United Way of Broward County. Among many honors and awards, Mayor Ortis was the recipient of the 2019 Florida League of Cities Home Rule Hero Award, and in 2012, he was named the Cities of Excellence Mayor of the Year by the Florida League of Cities. Mayor Ortis graduated from the Pittsburgh Institute of Aeronautics. He lives with his wife, Barbara, in Pembroke Pines. So I have a little plaque. For you. Come down. We take pictures, as you know. You know how this works. We're going to take a bunch of pictures, and then you can speak. Okay. Let's take a picture with the whole commission. Let's see if we can get you around over there. Probably need to come around.
Find a little window. There we go. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3.
Well, thank you so much. You know, being an elected official is such a great honor. And I did it for 28 years. 28 years last Wednesday. And it's a great thing to do that. And you read my bio, to be on all these boards. Many of you, I'm on boards with you. And it just makes you have a great feeling to do something for everybody and be part of it. So I wanted to recognize the First Lady, Barbara. I remember Dania Beach when it was a little tiny town. And that was beautiful. It always was beautiful. But I tell you, I can't thank you enough for this wonderful gift and this wonderful honor. So again, thank you all. I really, really do appreciate it. Thank you all. God bless you all.
Thank you, Mayor Ortiz, a true leader. And just want to say, when I first met you, you're extremely welcoming, very kind to me, made me feel right at home. So, yeah, thank you very much from me and from the whole entire commission as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, up next, our item 3.2 is the 27th Annual Plywood Regatta. This is a Parks and Rec item. It's for approval for the Plywood Regatta, right? We do it every year. And, okay, Commissioner James?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve 3.2.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. All right, motion passes unanimously. Okay, item 3.3. This is an update on the C51 Reservoir Project, Phase 1, and this is sponsored by Commissioner Davis. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. This is a very exciting project that I had the privilege and honor to attend the groundbreaking back in 2021. But this is a 15-year project in the making, looking at our water storage and looking at different options. It is a collaborative public-private partnership. When you say C51 Reservoir Project, that probably doesn't mean a lot to most people. So before I go on in my own words, I would like for you to look at a video so that everybody has an idea of what and how momentous of a project this truly is. So, Ralph, if we could go ahead and play the video for everyone. Thank you.
Balancing community water needs and environmental sustainability requires innovative, collaborative, and multifaceted solutions. One of these solutions is the C51 Reservoir. The C51 Reservoir project is the result of 15 years of collaboration between local and regional governments, the state of Florida, engineering firms, the private sector, and other regional stakeholders to find a solution to South Florida's water needs, enhance underground aquifers, and protect its delicate ecosystem. The reservoir will bring both economic and environmental benefits to South Florida, including creating economies of scale as a regional water resource development project, capitalizing on current construction and engineering work, protecting against saltwater intrusion that endangers coastal communities' drinking water, complementing the Loxahatchee River Watershed Restoration Project, reducing harmful impacts to the Lake Worth Lagoon, and providing a sustainable and cost-effective alternative water supply option for multiple communities. Phase 1 of this multi-phased project was recently completed by Palm Beach Aggregates and their contractor, Phillips & Jordan. Under a progressive design-build model, Palm Beach Aggregates, Phillips & Jordan, and our engineer of record, Brown & Caldwell, are accelerating the delivery of Phase 2, Cells 12 and 13. Phase 1 focused on the water supply elements of the project, including engineered levees, roller-compacted concrete spillway and armoring, soil bentonite seepage control walls, water control structures, tunnel boring, and other facilities. This phase of the project provides 14,000 acre-feet of storage, the majority underground, which is rare in Florida due to the porous geology of the region. Phase 1 is permitted to result in 35 million gallons per day of alternative water supply for 8 South Florida water utilities. Phase 2 focuses on environmental solutions by creating an additional 46,000 acre-feet of storage to be delivered in subphases, which will be used for flood protection to combat saltwater intrusion, reduce harmful discharges to the Lake Worth Lagoon, and assist with the restoration of the wild and scenic Loxahatchee River. This phase of the project is on budget and on schedule for delivery in 2028 and includes construction of multiple cells in subphases, a 40-foot deep pump station, and connections to the surrounding canal system. The C51 reservoir will work in conjunction with existing canals, reservoirs, and stormwater treatment areas to reduce harmful discharges to the Lake Worth Lagoon and direct that water to where it is needed. Reducing harmful discharges to this estuarine system will help reduce nutrients and sediments entering the ecosystem, contributing to regional environmental restoration objectives. By incorporating environmental benefits and water supply solutions, the C51 Reservoir Regional Partners have designed a multi-use project that is cost-effective and creates greater value for South Florida communities.
Thank you. And with that, 15 years ago, the president of Family Lands Remembered, Ernie Cox, was one of those who were at the very beginning, who helped to strategically plan this whole project from the beginning. Dania Beach was one of the cities who signed on in the beginning and worked with so many municipalities to get this project started. And phase 1, as you heard, is completed. So at this time, I would love to have you welcome President Ernie Cox from Family Lands Remembered to talk about this project. Thank you.
Well, good evening. Thank you so much for inviting me to come and speak. Y'all were part of this project in the very beginning, and I remember being with you a number of years ago, talking about whether this might be a good option for Dania Beach, and a lot of technical work, a lot of collaboration, a lot of engineering and permitting, and just the grind of taking a large project, but it's done. Phase 1 is done, and it was really a lot of fun for me personally, because a lot of times you work on a project, but it's fun to get to the project, get to that groundbreaking, and then just 3 years later, the ribbon cutting. And one of the things that I think is most significant about the project is the partnership that put it together. 8 public water utilities in South Florida worked together to do a project that each individual could not have done together. And it's kind of hard to see from the video, but that first phase is 450 acres. And so if any of you are ever in the Palm Beach area and would like to go see it in person, it takes about 45 minutes to drive around it. And would love to show it to you. And I think one of the key aspects is keeping water out of the estuaries. The estuaries don't need any more fresh water. You read about that every day in the newspapers. Keeping it in the system and then being able to use it to recharge the aquifer for cost-effective public water supply. So it's just a pleasure to be with you all again, and thank you so much for being part of this project.
And hold on, Ernie, hold on. He doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but this is such a momentous occasion because we hear a lot about where's the water going to come from? Where's the water going to come from? And as we build, as we grow, as Mayor Ortiz just said, Dania Beach was a small little town. And as we grow, we need to let everyone know that we have been proactive in creating those alternative water supplies for our residents. And so since you have been there, Family Lands Remembered has been there, we would just like to present you with a certificate of recognition and appreciation for all you have done to help with the Phase 1 completion project. So at this time, we're going to present you with a little certificate of recognition, and I will go ahead and read it from here, but then we're going to take a little photo up. So it says, Certificate of Recognition proudly presented to Ernie Cox, President of Family Lands Remembered, for your visionary leadership and unwavering dedication in spearheading the C-51 Reservoir Project 15 years ago, a pivotal initiative that paved the way for the successful completion of Phase 1, leaving a lasting impact on our community and in our environment. Thank you for all you have done to help us get this completion.
All sides are good sides. Big smiles. 1, 2, 3. I know you guys know the drill. Smiling. Just keep smiling. 1, 2, 3. I got it. Thank you.
All the angles, no problem.
Thank you very much. I very much did not expect that. So very, very kind. Let me know if you ever want a tour. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, we should as a commission.
All right, up next we have proclamations. Item 4.1 is National Autism Acceptance Month for April 2024, and this is sponsored by Commissioner Davis.
All right, we're on a roll. We're on a roll. I will say that Sunday was Autism Acceptance Day at Dania Point, and we had an amazing, amazing time. For those of us who were able to attend this year, it was only the second year, and I think it was bigger and better than it ever has been, and I expect it to keep growing. The amount of services, the amount of families, people from Special Olympics, graduates from the Marino campus all came together, businesses and communities, Memorial Hospital, BSO was out there, Billy the Marlin, anybody you can think of, we all came together to support Autism Acceptance Month. And so we want to thank the Dan Marino Foundation for partnering with us, for partnering with the city. Mary Parton, the CEO, and Susan, you guys have been there from the very beginning. And so we are becoming a more inclusive city. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and read the proclamation for Autism Acceptance Month. Whereas the city of Dania Beach is committed to protecting and preserving our environment, ocean, and marine life, and recognize the important, sorry, I got two. Sorry. This is a lot today. All right. Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a complex developmental disability typically appearing during early childhood, affecting a person's ability to communicate and interact with others, and whereas autism affects all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups, approximately 1 in 36 children have been identified with autism, according to the CDC's Autism and Developmental Disabilities Monitoring Network. And whereas April is Autism Acceptance Month, celebrating each individual's unique differences and fostering inclusivity and connectedness, and whereas citizens with autism continue to contribute to Dania Beach community every day, and while despite great progress in understanding autism, challenges remain. And whereas we encourage employers to hire people with autism and recognize the positive contributions they bring to workplaces. And whereas it is vital that the autism community speak for themselves and engage in productive conversation with the community. And whereas the City of Dania Beach is honored to partner with the Dan Marino Foundation in raising public acceptance of autism. And whereas to further these efforts, the Dan Marino Foundation hosted the Autism Acceptance Family Sunday on April 7th at Dania Point in the City of Dania Beach. Now, therefore, on behalf of the City of Dania Beach Commission and our Mayor, Archibald J. Ryan IV, Mayor of the City of Dania Beach, here do proclaim April 24, 2024 as National Autism Acceptance Month in the City of Dania Beach as a symbol of our commitment to creating a culture of disability awareness and inclusion for all members of our community. Thank you. And with that, we're going to ask the CEO of the Dan Marino Foundation and the foundation to come up and accept the proclamation on behalf of the City of Dania Beach. Yes, go make that.
Come on.
Everybody's getting their exercise.
Yes.
Take a photo.
Very nice. Thanks so much. Oh, gentlemen, nice to meet you. See you again. Thanks. Big smiles, everyone. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then we do one more. There you go, you got it. Stay put. Wait, stay put, stay put. Don't get to escape that easy. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Same deal. Perfect. Thank you.
I always go to the mic. I just want to say thank you. And I also want to share with the audience, we took about a year and a half deciding where we were going to go. And because I live just 5 minutes from here, it helped, you know. But really, we studied many cities. And when we looked at who was really at the top in leadership and where could we really come in and work with the city, all the services and make an impact to really become part of Dania and the infrastructure, there, it was hands down, it was Dania. And so I want to thank you, the city manager, Joy, our supposed to call it commissioner, assistant city manager, your mayor, Marco. I've known him forever, but we are so excited. We're a block away. We open officially April 26th, and so you'll all have invitations. And I already talked to the garden lady to help volunteer there, and Parks and Rec, and first responders. So we're excited. Anything you need. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is this the right one now?
All right. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Dan Marino Foundation. We're really looking forward to that continued relationship. Up next, we have another proclamation, item 4.2, and this is for Earth Day on April 22nd, 2024. This is sponsored by Commissioner Davis.
And this is the last one. All right. Earth Day is every day. Whereas the City of Dania Beach is committed to protecting and preserving our environment, ocean, and marine life, and recognize the important role of our citizens play in this endeavor. Whereas Earth Day 2024 will mark the 54th anniversary of the birth of this modern environmental movement. Each year, Earth Day is assigned a different theme. This year's theme is Planet versus Plastics, which calls for widespread awareness in the health risk of plastics and the need to rapidly phase out all single-use plastics. And whereas all people have a right to a healthy, sustainable environment with economic growth and opportunity, and whereas enhancing and improving our green economy will require cooperation across all sectors of society. We are caretakers of our planet and have an obligation to combat climate change and environmental degradation to preserve the Earth's beauty as well as its resources. And whereas this obligation extends not only to today's caretakers, but also to future generations who will inherit the planet. On this 54th anniversary of Earth Day, the city of Dania Beach is committed to building the successes we have achieved so far in support of Planet versus Plastics. We are hosting Earth Day is Every Day, Dania Beach Pristine, a community beach cleanup on April the 22nd from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. and invite everyone to come out and join us. Now, therefore, on behalf of the city of Dania Beach and our mayor, Archibald J. Ryan IV, of the city of Dania Beach, here do proclaim April 22nd, 2024 as Earth Day in the city of Dania Beach, Florida, and do urge our citizens to commit to being good stewards of our air, land, and water resources. Thank you, and let us keep Dania Beach pristine and celebrate Earth Day every day.
All right, thank you. Looking forward to that. Hopefully everybody can show up to our Earth Day on Monday, April 22nd. What's the time, 2 to 6? 4 to 6. 4 to 6. Okay, if you get there early, it's not a big deal. All right, up next we have our administrative reports. Item 5.1 is from our city manager, Madam Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, city team, members of our audience, our beautiful residents that are here, and the ones that are watching at home. First and foremost, I want to remind everyone that this weekend, this Saturday actually, from 6 to 9, here at City Hall in our Arts and Entertainment Campus, it is our Dania After Dark. And the theme for this Saturday is Blues and Barbecue. So if you don't have plans, come on down, and I guarantee that you're going to have a wonderful time here this Saturday in the great city of Dania Beach. I am very pleased to report that Mr. Joshua Gabiton, who's our government relations liaison up in Washington, D.C., reached out to me last week, and he confirmed that we have been awarded $637,195 for the design of our first ever EOC and training facility. We have worked very hard, and I want to commend Colin Donnelly, who's our grants administrator and CIP project manager, for all the hard work, and Candido Sosa Cruz, our deputy manager, Fernando Rodriguez, our public services director, and our chief of fire, Sergio Pelizar. So whenever we get a call from Washington, D.C. that there's an opportunity, or whether we get a call from Washington or Tallahassee, our team needs to be ready to produce those documents and get them over immediately. We were able to make that happen. I also want to recommend, I also want to commend and thank our Congresswoman, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who has really stood by us time and time again. So we were so confident that we were going to get this grant that we've already started to work on the design. We plan to bring it back to our mayor and our city commission so they could take a look at a draft design so we can move, as quickly as possible. So we'll be bringing that back within the next couple of months. We have one of our local architectural firms working on that design. So we're very, very excited about that. I also want to say that our Director of Parks and Recreation, our City Attorney, and our CFO have collaborated to work seamlessly to negotiate down the C.W. Thomas Park project to approximately $22 million. I have recommended, and we've received the support of our mayor and commission to leave $1 million in reserves, because as you know, when you plan a facility of this magnitude, you have to look at FF&E, which is furniture, fixtures, equipment, additional programming, and things that we could do, not just for the youth, but our seniors and our community that will be using this park. We're extremely excited because we have some key documents in this agenda that will move the project forward to the point that they are getting ready to put up the fence and put a shovel in the ground. So we're extremely excited about that. we are continuing to invest in the quality of life of our community here. Our project design for the Olson Middle School is slated for the school board on May 21st. This has been unanimously supported by our commission. We've worked very hard, and I'd like to commend, then Mayor Lori Llewellyn, former Mayor Tamara James, former Vice Mayor Bill Harris, and resident Mimi Donnelly, who went with me to present to the Broward County School Board, and we are going to be able to put a shovel in the ground very soon. But it took decades to demolish that building. And these individuals here and those that are no longer with us really made an impact. This is an additional 7 acres of parkland for our community and is fully paid via impact fees. So I know sometimes we look at the challenges of traffic with new construction and us being a growing city, but in excess of $5 million will come from that new construction to be able to create an additional 7 acres of parkland in our southeast community for the great residents of our city. We partner a lot on some really good endeavors. And the Loving Souls 2024 is a project that we work with Miami-Dade County and Broward County, the Homeless Coalition, and we really challenged ourselves this year, and I'd like to thank our mayor, vice mayor, and the rest of the commission, and all our city team. This year we collected over 300 pairs of shoes for this great endeavor, and I just want to thank everybody because it was a total team effort. So our city team is looking at what they can do, and I've known that we're working very closely, seamlessly with Miami-Dade and other cities in Broward. So this was really something that we're very, very proud of. Additionally, I want to thank the entire city, all our department directors, and everyone. We are working very diligently to prepare and bring forward our proposed budget to this commission. Yesterday, we had a very, very successful kickoff to our budget. Other cities haven't even had their first meeting, nor do they have it planned. And here we are, being very proactive. During this time, I think that it's very important that you communicate with your elected body, you communicate with me, and our city team in regards to what you would like to see in the budget as we move forward already with fiscal year 2025. We're very, very excited about that. On Wednesday, April the 3rd, I was able to attend Olson Middle School. We've developed a really, really good relationship with all our local schools. A couple of years ago, I sat with one of our residents who really wanted to bring forward a great project, and long story short, it became the REACH project, and we are engaging our local teenagers and our local schools, and very, very excited that they came to Frost Park and really worked on a community service project. We're teaching and mentoring the youth to really give back to our community. So we're very, very excited about that and that partnership. I know Commissioner Davis was there, and I should have stayed for lunch because I really missed out on Chick-fil-A, but lunch sometimes is kind of one of those things I don't really get a chance to do. But anyway, in the month of February, we had a total of 4 noise complaints. And I wanted to bring this back to the commission and discuss it publicly because there was concerns because this commission moved forward with a new noise ordinance. So in the month of February, we had a total of 4. 3 out of those 4 came from the same household. And I want to let you know that I have met with our chief, I have met with our community development team, and with our deputy city manager. So that one problematic house is that issue is something that we have on our radar. We're working very closely with our city attorney, and this commission has supported me in regards to ensure that any one of those short-term rentals or any of those noises that violates our noise ordinance we will deal with them very, very swiftly because, again, quality of life is something that's extremely important to us. And I want to take the time to really thank our city attorney who's been very vigilant. These cases will be coming forward to our special magistrate. But we just don't tell you that we're going to do something without following through. And next month we'll come back and we'll give you the report in March so you can continue to monitor that. Our HR team is working closely with all our city departments. We continue to plan really great events that our staff really enjoys. And we are going to be having our Bring Your Child to Work. We had wanted to do it, but because of COVID, we hadn't really executed that. So that's going to be happening soon, and we're very excited. Thank you, Mayor, for participating in Bring Your Kids. Last month is Bring Your Dog to Work. And believe it or not, it's these little things that are building the great culture that allow us to not just to retain, but to really recruit the great team that we have here. One of the best in the whole state of Florida. Our second edition of our Pioneer publication, which goes out to all our residents, will be out this June. And it'll show you where your tax dollars are going to. The one that we put out last year, our first ever, was very well received. So we were very excited. So you really know what are the park projects, what are the storm drainage projects, where is your money's going to, and how we are investing. So we're very excited about that. And this concludes my manager's report.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Madam Manager. Up next, we have our City Attorney, Eve Boutsis.
Good evening, everyone, and it's really hard to follow the manager, but I'm going to make it really, really short. Just bring one thing to your attention. On the agenda is an item 8.3, which is listed under consent. It should have been a public hearing, so we're going to ask you to take it off of consent and put it under 11.2. So that 10.2, excuse me, so we can have a public hearing on it. And that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eve. Up next, our City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. So for the rest of this month, you have no meetings. So your next meeting will resume on May 14th, where you have your CRA board meeting at 5:30, and then your regular City Commission meeting at 7 p.m. And that's all I have, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, up next is our Public Safety Report, and we'll start with Captain Jason Turalla. Welcome back from Tallahassee, Captain. I hope the training went well.
It was phenomenal. Thank you.
Right.
Amazing. Thank you.
You passed?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you. I graduated. Thank you. That was that academy was phenomenal. It was an honor to represent the agency, represent the city up there. So it was amazing, amazing opportunity. So greetings, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioner, City Manager. I'd like to highlight a couple of really good arrests we had, and then a really good success story that I'd like to bring to your guys' attention. So to start with, we had a stolen vehicle last Monday. March 25th, our CST detectives located a stolen Audi, brand new 2023. It was reported stolen out of Fort Lauderdale the day before. They surveilled the vehicle. Once it became occupied and went mobile, they successfully stayed back. They watched it, traveled throughout the county. It went to an apartment complex in Pompano. The occupants bailed out of the vehicle, went into their apartment. Our CST detectives surrounded the apartment. They got Pompano to assist. And through their investigation and through their tactics, they were able to successfully get those occupants to come out of the apartment without any force having to be used. And they got all three suspects into custody, and the driver was positively identified, and he was taken into custody. This past Friday, April 5th, our LPR got a hit at 1200 South Federal Highway for another stolen vehicle that was used in another felony offense. So again, our LPR on our trailer hit on that one. Our units went to the area. They located the vehicle that was behind one of the hotels in the 1200 block Federal Highway. Once they set up surveillance on the video, the occupant of the stolen vehicle saw our unit setting up and bailed out of the vehicle. Our deputies automatically chased the suspect on foot. We set up a perimeter. We got K-9 and the helicopter to respond. Our perimeter was fantastic. We were able to lock down the suspect. K-9 deployed, and K-9 was able to apprehend the suspect. The suspect was placed into custody, taken to the hospital, and medical cleared and taken to jail, and charged with the felony offense, the grand theft auto, and the other felonies that he was facing. So that was another fantastic arrest. So I'd like to share with you guys a picture real quick of the success story. This is really, So, obviously, our homeless outreach team is very, very busy. And as you know, I always tell the commission and our residents that helping people and getting resources is always the priority of our homeless outreach team. And this story is the perfect example of what they do. And I'd like to read you what happened with this. And you can see the picture of this family and these kids. And it really is a heartwarming story. So last week, Deputy Reyes was dispatched to a location at 20 Southwest 4th Ave, and he met with a young woman who had small children who were sleeping on the side of a lawn complex. Upon arrival, it was a 21-year-old female, 3 children, ages 4, 1, and a 5-month-old. The young mother confirmed that she had nowhere to sleep. She's been sleeping outdoors with her children, and she was experiencing homelessness. Deputy Reyes immediately contacted the Homeless Outreach Assessment and learned that Angela and her children were experiencing homelessness through the system on and off for the past 2 years. She was residing at Covenant House briefly until October 2023 when she gave birth to her youngest child. Due to reasons beyond her control, she had to leave the Covenant House and go into homelessness again, living on the street with her 3 young children. Deputy Reyes further learned that the only government assistance that she was receiving was food stamps due to her child care issues, and she could not obtain any other steady income or job because of the 3 young children. Should be noted that although she is homeless, the children were in amazing care. The children were clean, well-groomed, well-nourished, and extremely nice children. No signs of any neglect or abuse were observed on the children. The 4-year-old was even enrolled in school. Reyes was able to transport the children to the nearest McDonald's for breakfast, and he began his quest to find shelter and housing for this family in need. Reyes spent several hours reaching out to the homeless outreach entities throughout their county, explaining the severity of the situation in this family. Even though Reyes feared that Angela and her children might have to spend another night on the streets, him and Deputy Spicer continued their hard work, and they ended up building a great rapport with her, and they found out that she had a grandmother and uncle who lived in Atlanta, Georgia. Contact was made with the grandmother and uncle, who were informed of the situation, and the grandmother were unaware of Angela's dire situation. The grandmother welcomed her with open arms and the grandchildren and asked her if there was any way we could get Angela and the grandchildren up to Atlanta. Deputy Reyes and Deputy Spicer, through their means of the homeless outreach team, were able to get the funds to get bus tickets for the family and the children to be reunited with the family up in Atlanta with the grandmother and the uncle. Unfortunately, it was 2 days away before the bus could take them to Atlanta. So Deputy Reyes was able to make contact with Pharaoh's Court Motel, who we have a fantastic relationship with, and the owner of that motel gave them 2 nights for free stay at the motel, let them stay there. Deputy Spicer, on her own account, went out and bought diapers, food, formula, and food for the babies and the kids. And on Wednesday, Deputy Reyes and Spicer brought them over to the bus terminal, got them on the bus, and later on, they got confirmation that they made it up to Atlanta, and they're safe with the grandmother and the uncle up in Atlanta. It's an extremely heartwarming story. Who knows what would have happened with the children, the mother, if Reyes and Spicer didn't intervene at this time. And you see the picture, the kids are adorable. And hopefully the grandmother and the uncle can get her back on her feet and they can have a beautiful life up there. So I wanted to highlight that one for you. So, you know, we consider get complaints from the FEC tracks. So I want the commission to know that we work with the FEC police and our code enforcement daily. Whenever we proactively identify the homeless encampments along the tracks, we'll notify FEC. They have their own crew that cleans the encampments along the tracks for safety reasons, but they don't come every day. So we work with our code enforcement. We'll notify code enforcement. We identify them, and code enforcement comes. So the last complaint we got, that has been completely cleaned up. It's gone. Reyes and Spicer go out there every day, and they double check to make sure that that encampment's no longer there. And as of today, it's not there anymore. So that's been taken care of. We're continuing all our religious institution checks, which we've been doing. And on a good note, talking about getting people into our city, we have just got 2 deputies from District 54 who wanted to transfer into Dania Beach, because again, I know we talk about this is a district where deputies want to come to. So we just got 2 deputies from District 54. We have 2 deputies who just graduated the police academy coming to our district. And I just got notified from our colonel that we're getting 2 deputies from the police academy that graduate next week. So that will bring our staffing at only 1 vacancy. That's the lowest out of any current patrol district in BSO. So Dane is a priority for the agency. This is a district that people want to come to. So we're able to get certified guys and guys from other districts that want to come here. So we'll have 1 vacancy starting the beginning of May, and I can assure you we'll get that filled very quickly. Let's see. Eric and Taryn last weekend did the, 2 weeks ago, did the Dania Beach annual spring break egg hunt with the children. It was held at Frost Park, and they interacted with hundreds of kids for up to 3 hours, and they assisted with the egg hunt. And this past weekend, they did the Dan Marino autism event over at Dania Point that drew hundreds of people, and Eric and Taryn were out there connecting with the children, with the autistic community, and representing BSO as they always do with that event. And last, obviously with Passover coming up, Taryn, Deputy Taryn in session went to the multi-agency task force meeting in preparation for this year's Passover. They brought that back to us. We had a meeting this weekend with them, and we have a plan in place for all of our Jewish institutions for Passover. I personally went out and met with a couple of the institutions already. I've been in contact with Rosita at the Holocaust Museum. So we have a plan in place to make sure that all of our Jewish facilities are protected during the Passover services.
All right. Thank you, Captain.
Anything?
Awesome report.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome report.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
In your absence, Lieutenant Cooper didn't miss a beat.
She never does.
Never does. Never does. Up next, we have our BSO Fire Chief, Sergio Pellicer.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, City staff, and our great citizens of Dania Beach. My report's a little short tonight, but what I'll tell you is that we continue to work on our SAFER grant. As we discussed yesterday, we're going to be done with the application. It'll be submitted. This SAFER grant and the EOC topics were also brought to our Civic Association meetings at PJ Mealy Park, and also to our senior citizens meeting at the casino. Our firefighters are training on airway devices, which is crucial for ensuring that they can effectively manage somebody's airway during emergencies. The proper training equips them with skills to do it as fast as they can, but makes them confident in doing the procedure. So ultimately, it saves lives. All we do is train, so that we're ready to go whenever, and every second counts. So that's a most important thing that I try to make sure our firefighters are ready for. And lastly, I met Mary from Dan Marino Foundation, and I look forward to working together with her in projects upcoming. That's it for my report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Up next, we have our citizens' comments. I have one person signed up, Eugenia Morales. Ms. Morales, please state your name and address.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Eugenia Morales, and my address is 414 Southeast 5th Street in Dania. I'm here just to expose a point that it's been disturbing our peace and our family because of the exceeding call to police and exhausting resources. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that you guys are looking at that very closely. I have no surprise that 3 of those calls that you mentioned are mine. I'm not surprised, but the reality is that I was in probably almost 2 years ago. I was warning about the noise. After that warning, it's been hundreds of calls, exhausting police resources. Maybe they could be attending something more important than just coming to my house. When they go there, nothing. They go there, nothing. But maybe a little bit like they have to quiet everything and listen to see it now with 100 feet, it can be heard. So my point is to maybe establish an ordinance that a resident that abused and called so many times with no point, just because have a special harassment with a resident that can be determined by maybe, you guys are experts. So I have my confidence that you guys can come together maybe and find a way how you can determine if a resident is harassing another resident by making all these phone calls. Intentionally, we have seen that open the window, have the police come in, but slightly so the police don't see the window is open, just see, you can hear the music. So my family don't want to go to my house because they get disturbed. My mother-in-law don't want to go anymore to the patio, that she's 70-some years old, because she's afraid that he's gonna call the police at any time. So I'm more than willing to respect, because I'm a respectful person, I'm a professional person, but it gets frustrated when you feel that your hands are tied and you're alone in this. And that's how I feel. So that's why I want to bring this point to you guys. And I have a confidence that you guys gonna work together and see if there can be something done. Right now, I was not able to come. I always come to my meetings, but I was not able to come on my last one because I was on vacation and I forgot that I had a meeting. So, and I received a notification that I have to pay $1,600, and now I have another one that is coming up, another meeting that is coming up. So, sorry. Thank you for listening to me, and I hope, I can have any solution on this problem. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. Are there any more citizen comments out there? All right, seeing none, we will move on to our consent agenda. Are there any items that the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda?
If we could just,
Yeah, but we're gonna move item 8.3 to 10.2, because it's a public hearing. So, with the exception of item 8.3, are there any items the commission wishes to pull from the consent agenda?
no, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 8.3.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 8.3. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, consent agenda passes. Just to highlight some of the consent agenda, we have, $600,000 room for permitting with CW Thomas Park, as well as $1 million contingency fund for unforeseen circumstances with the park that we approved. We have a drain improvement project that we have for over by the PJ Milley area in Southwest Griffin area. I think it's 29th Terrace, right?
Mhm.
And we also have a $6 million credit line for our Southeast drainage. It's a revenue bond for multiple phases of the project. We're very excited about that. We're going to have a signing on Monday. And we also have our Olson land for item 8.9 with the South Broward Board of Commissioners. So that was it to highlight our consent agenda. So now we'll move on to bids and requests for proposals. Item 9.1, please.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 24-4, replacement of solar street light panels, rebid to Mills Electric Services, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $371,726.25. This is a public service item.
Vice Chair, Vice Mayor.
I was gonna make a
Go ahead.
motion to approve it.
All right, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. All right, item 9.2, please.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of ITB 24-1 City Hall campus improvements to Con Engineers Builders LLC in an amount not to exceed $97,188.98. Public services.
Okay, Commissioner James,
Make a motion to approve 9.2.
I have a motion. Vice Chair, Vice Chair, I have a second. Vice Mayor, I have a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. All right, motion passes. 9.3.
A resolution of the City Commission authorizing the award of RFP 24-2 EV charging stations to Blink Network LLC, Community Development.
Make a motion to approve 9.3.
Motion to approve 9.3. Second from Commissioner Joyce Davis.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay. Hearing none, item 9.3 passes. Okay, now to our quasi-judicial and public hearings. Item 10.1, please.
A resolution of the City Commission approving the request for a waiver from the 1,000-foot separation requirement pertaining to the sale of alcoholic beverages submitted by Pearl Ben Yoram and Moore Ben Yoram of Maverick Lily Liquors LLC for 4501 Sterling Road. This is a community development item. It is a quasi-judicial public hearing, so anyone who's going to be speaking on the application, including anyone from the public and staff, please raise your right hand to be sworn in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God. Okay, one last thing. Are there any disclosures to be had of any of the applicants have been spoken to, or anyone else? And let's go down the road, and whether you, after those communications, please advise whether you can be impartial or not. Let's go,
We'll start
everyone.
with Commissioner Davis.
Yes, I spoke with Pearl and Hope, and I can remain impartial. Thank you.
Commissioner James.
Same.
Okay. Commissioner Salvino.
Same.
Vice Mayor.
I spoke with Hope briefly tonight. I also attended the P&Z meeting, but I can remain impartial.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, I spoke with the applicants as well, but I can remain impartial.
Good evening. Corinne LaJoy, Deputy Director in Community Development. This application is for the alcohol distance waiver. The property itself is zoned C2. It is in a commercial land use designation. It's located at 4501 Sterling Road. The parcel itself is 0.3 acres in size. There are currently no violations on the property. This slide shows the location of the property. To the left or the west is 441, so it's out on the western edge of the city, but it is located on Griffin Road. Actually, Sterling Road, I'm sorry. So some background information on the property itself. The proposed use is for a new liquor store with off-premise consumption, so it's a liquor store, which is permitted in this location, provided that their separation requirements are met. The use will operate in the existing structure, which is 850 square feet, and it will require 4 parking spaces for that use. The waiver request is to allow a 570-foot separation from an existing liquor store, which happens to be located in the city of Hollywood, where the city's land development requirements requires a 1,000-foot separation. So this is a location map of the two properties. The one in red is the proposed location, and the one in yellow is the existing store located in Hollywood on 441. The Planning and Zoning Board heard this item on March 20th. At the meeting, there were several members of the public who spoke and expressed concerns related to the proximity to the existing schools, daycare facilities, as well as the other alcohol business. The Planning and Zoning Board, however, failed to make a motion that evening. The community outreach that occurred, the applicant was able to conduct a virtual outreach meeting on March 26th, which was after the Planning and Zoning Board meeting had happened. The public that attended expressed concerns about traffic. The neighborhood is hopeful that this approval would lead to much needed improvements to the site. As such, an improved lighting and parking of the parking lot for that property as well. Staff is recommending denial of the application. The Land Development Code identifies criteria that must be met for the approval of the request. The applicant has been able to address those comments of the criteria in their application, and their responses are identified in the staff report. But the two criteria of concern for staff is criteria number 2. Staff does not agree with the alternative measures that are proposed by the applicant to prevent any adverse impacts on the public interest or adjacent properties. And then criteria number 3, staff does not agree with the applicant's commitment to avoid any detrimental impact on the value of the existing contiguous uses in the general vicinity, and the zoning district where the sale is to be located. The Planning and Zoning Board, as I stated previously, on March 20th, held the meeting but failed to pass a motion on the item. And at this point, staff's recommending denial of the application at the City Commission. And I'm available if you have any questions. I know the applicant is here as well as their attorney, their representative.
Okay, thank you, Corinne. Okay, this is a public hearing. Do you have any questions for Corinne, Commissioner James?
No, but I would like to hear from the applicant before I have comments.
Please. Please state your name and address for the record.
I don't know where to stand. I'm short. I'm just kidding. I was kidding. I'm just going to pull this back up. Good evening. My name is Hope Calhoun, Land Use Counsel for the applicant. You'll hear from me and I'm just looking down because I'm pulling. You'll hear from me and the applicant, the property owner, tonight as we speak. My business address is 14 Southeast 14th Street, Boca Raton, Florida. So a few things I want to touch. Oh, we have a presentation. Is that this one right here? You guys are fancy. Thank you. Thank you. A few things I just want to discuss about our application. First, I just want to note that this is the property in question. It's noted there, project location, it's where the arrow is. That property currently is being utilized by my client's family. My client, by the way, is a Dania Beach resident and a business owner in the city of Dania Beach. She is an attorney, a litigator by practice, and their family just is looking to put some additional roots down in the city of Dania Beach. The building that's shown as project location is currently being utilized as a realtor's office. Again, keeping things in the family by my client's mom. So if any of you are familiar with realtor's offices, there's not a lot of activity that goes on there. So when we speak to the criteria about maintaining the stability and appearance of the community, that's criteria number 1. Our position, as stated in our backup and report, is that we actually do not just maintain, but we improve the appearance and stability of the community. Because what we'll have here is an active and open business. We reached out to the city a few times after submitting our application to discuss SEPTED principles, right? You all are familiar with those things that make the property safer. We already have, again, an existing building, existing landscaping, but we are already proposing to improve the lighting, to improve the parking, as staff said, to trim the landscaping to make it even better, more visible, more open. The 4 people that spoke at the Planning and Zoning Board meeting mentioned that there are a lot of vagrants that hang out at this parcel. So again, by making this an active site, by improving the landscaping, the lighting, and everything else, it's our contention that we meet this criteria because we're improving by creating an active area. Oops, sorry. Quickly, I just want to also touch on our request. As stated on tonight's agenda, the request is for a waiver from another alcoholic beverage establishment. Interestingly enough, that during our application phase and at the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, there was mention of not just another alcoholic beverage establishment, which is in the city of Hollywood, but also of a school. This is what happened at Planning and Zoning. We presented evidence, it's in your backup, that there is a daycare within 320 feet of our facility, our proposed store, not a school. The city's code specifically states that the waiver must be sought from among, there are like 9 things that have distance separation, but in terms of our application, the code specifically says a K through 12 school, we ones is a daycare, so that doesn't qualify. So that's why in tonight's presentation and backup, there's no mention of a school from staff, not us. And then the liquor store, as we've already stated and established, is located in the city of Hollywood, but again, the code requires, doesn't distinguish between jurisdictions, so because it's within the 1,000 foot radius, I'm very visual, within the 1,000 radius, we have to apply for the waiver, so we're doing that. With regard to the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, I just want to point out, and I noticed it's not in your backup, but I have a copy and I'm happy to share, that the Planning and Zoning Board report, staff recommended approval of our application. Specifically, I've highlighted it, so I'm happy to share again, but specifically with regard to each criteria, staff states very clearly, staff agrees with the applicant with regard to 1, 2, 3, and 4, all the points that we need to comply with. Staff's last 2 paragraphs read as follows. The community development staff agrees, community development staff is in general agreement with the applicant's zoning criteria statement, which says we've satisfied the criteria. It goes on to say, and is supportive of the alcohol distance waiver request. Next, the staff states that the application supports the city's strategic plan, and then it lists goals and objectives that we specifically meet in our application. Then lastly, under recommendation of the Planning and Zoning report prepared by staff, it provides recommendation. Planning and Zoning Board to recommend approval to the City Commission of the resolution provided. So again, 4 people spoke at Planning and Zoning. There are more people in the room tonight than were at the Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I'm assuming that the same people that spoke at Planning and Zoning will speak here. You will please note who they are and who they're related to, and how they are related to our application. You'll notice they're all the same people. They are a commercial property owner, his tenant, and then the tenant's relatives and employees. So I just kind of very briefly went through the criteria requirements. Again, you have it in your backup. I'm happy to do it again, but we have satisfied them. Your planning and zoning technicians, your staff that you hire to review these things, stated previously that we met them. I am not sure what changed between now and then, and now with regard to planning and zoning and city commission. However, I received the report after you did, and I note that staff changed their position, but they didn't really say why, except to say that it doesn't meet. Just a few other notes that I want to make, and that is, my client has stated repeatedly, and she's going to speak for herself, that her goal as a business owner, a small business owner in the city who is a mom, is to open a small business in the city. She would not open a business that would harm or potentially harm people or children in the area. She will provide testimony, I can't, she will, with regard to the surveillance that they undertook. At the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, there was testimony presented that children walk along here and kids are here and it's highly trafficked by children. We have picture evidence and video evidence and live testimony taken from my client that during school hours, before school hours and after school hours, that show that there are no children, none. The daycare is a daycare, so those kids don't walk. They are dropped off every morning by their parent and then picked up every evening by their parent. So those are just some important things I wanted to mention. If I could, I'm going to yield some of my time, I don't know how much I have, to my client so she can speak, and then I'll just reserve a few minutes if I can at the end to wrap up. And I would ask you, Mayor, if at the end of others speaking if we'll have a chance to rebut what they present.
That's fine with me.
Thank you. Normally, I don't ask my clients to speak, but she's a lawyer, so I think she can do it.
2 lawyers.
I can hold my own, right? Good evening, everyone, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So as Hope mentioned, after the planning and zoning meeting, myself and my husband took the opportunity to surveil the property, to surveil the daycare that came up, which we didn't think that it should have any bearing because it's not part of what is required under the code. However, we understand, I personally am a mom of 4 kids. My daughter is at the daycare that's actually within 1,000 feet of Happy Pappy's on Griffin, so I understand. And so in order to alleviate concerns, like I said, we took it upon ourselves to surveil the property. The surveillance was between 7:30 a.m. and 9 a.m., and then again at 1 to 4 p.m. What was seen, and I think you have, yeah?
We sent it, but apparently you don't have it, so I'm going to pass it out so you can just see what she's talking about.
Okay. What was seen was across the street, across Sterling Road on day 1, which was Wednesday the 3rd?
Yes.
Wednesday the 3rd, there was a bus, a school bus, that came and parked in the parking lot at 746, parked in the parking lot across Sterling Road. No children entered or exited the vehicle. It parked there, it stayed there for 30 minutes. At 8:15, it pulled out, the same way that it pulled in, and drove eastward on Sterling Road. The very next day, that same bus, or any bus, there was no bus that came between 7:30 and 9 a.m. On Wednesday at about 2:15, there was a bus that stops on Sterling Road, just eastward of the daycare. It's called We Ones of Sterling Learning Center. It stops there, stops traffic. Children descended the bus. And notably, which you should probably see, there's a white van that is parked next to where the bus stop is. No children walk as pedestrians on the sidewalk. No children walk the way at all. Even right before the projected location, there's a small street. No children walk and turn into that street. In fact, parents are waiting, or whomever is waiting for those children, and then drive them out of that bus stop to wherever it may be. That's the only thing that happened on those 2 days. The first day, it was about 2:15. On the second day, it was about 2:07. So, in addition to our request, we are also willing, if it pleases, the commission, we would be willing to make a full stop between 2 to 3 p.m. so that any children that might want to take a stroll down Sterling Road, as safe as that sounds, wouldn't come into any sort of, deterrence or what have you with our liquor store, projected liquor store. The second thing that I want to note is that everybody on the or at least 2 people on the planning and zoning board had no issue with the actual competition, right? The actual reason why we have to apply for the waiver, which is the other liquor store that's about 570 feet aerial away from our projected location. In fact, the only thing that they were discussing was this daycare, which is not technically a reason, right? Per code, it has to be an academic institution. But okay, we understand the concerns. I took the liberty of calling the director of We Ones. I had a conversation with Charlene. Charlene said that her family bought the property in 2016. It took her about 2 to 3 years to get all of the approvals necessary to actually become functioning. I asked her if she would have any objection to our opening, and if there was anything that I could do to make my business less of an issue to her business. She said to me, and I quote, "What does your business have to do with my business?" And I said to her, "Charlene, I'm in full agreement with you, but unfortunately, I have a city to answer to. Do you feel comfortable coming to the city and just expressing that to the city? That you don't see any issue, just as I don't see any issue?" She said, "Miss, people have already come to me and asked me to come to the city and go against you." She said, "Wealthy people with thick accents asked me to come and express my objection to your proposed use." She said, "But I don't want to have anything to do with it." I said, "Would you at least be willing to sign something?" She said, "I will give you my first name and not my last." As Hope had stated, and as we've shown, we have satisfied all of the criteria. Staff even agreed with us that we satisfied all the criteria. But certain things were said at the Planning and Zoning Board meeting, and that's why we took it upon ourselves to surveil and to provide actual proofs of what actually happens there and who is actually walking around the population. And in fact, we have also requested from actual neighbors to testify who are actually the people that walk around this area, just for your own knowledge. One other important thing that we want to note to the commission is that this is not something that hasn't been done before. We did a brief survey of the city of Dania Beach and other schools, academic institutions, real academic institutions that would require the waiver. Okay. Yeah, I think there are. So in the first photo, in the first photo, you will see, sorry, but these are Google images, so I have more. You want one? I have another one. Sorry. Okay, here. In the first photo, you can see the there it says liquor. It's a bit blurry, but it says liquor. Also, that there's a school zone sign right there. There is a liquor store called Halftime Liquors. It's located within the school zone of Olson Middle School. In fact, the actual distance from middle school to Halftime Liquors is approximately 600 square feet. It is an academic institution pursuant to the code. We don't stop there. Walgreens on, Walgreens on is the second picture that you'll see in your packet. Again, Walgreens, the third picture is just at the beginning of the school. This is for Dania Elementary School. Dania Elementary School is about 456 feet from the liquor store at Walgreens. Dania Elementary School is in fact an academic institution. Last photo The last photo that you will note is actually on Sterling Road. And this is, in fact, Jewel's Tiny Treasures. Tiny Treasures is a daycare. And in that same plaza, there's Stop and Go, Stop and Shop, selling wine, beer, coolers, as well as a Pita also sells wine, beer, coolers. There's not even a way to measure the distance because it's literally next door. This is the same shopping strip, and these are all within Dania Beach. As stated previously, we've satisfied all requirements at our proposed location, road, and we're only seeking the actual traffic that's moving westward on Sterling Road. Liquor store of our waiver is one moving north. To actually get from our proposed location to Sweeney's Liquor, which is the petition, the issue that we have to receive the waiver for, is you would have to drive out of our location, make a left south on 441, then there's no actual left. You would have to continue down, make a U-turn, and continue north to make the right to Sweeney's location. I think that we have met all the criteria again, and we look forward to hearing any comments or questions from you.
For public comment, Commissioner James, you have a question for the applicant?
No, I haven't first. Wait.
You'll wait? Okay.
Yep.
Commissioner Savino, you have for staff? Okay. All right, let's open up to public comment then, and then we'll speak to staff. Talk to staff after. Please, come up and state your name and address.
Good evening.
Just a reminder, he has 3 minutes to speak, and you cannot give your time to anybody else, and please avoid. Thank you.
Good evening, it's Vincent Semica. I live behind 4501, literally right behind the address they're referring to. I can see everything. I've been living there for the last 10 years. The building now isn't being occupied, so it's a lot of being unsolved. It's dark. There's no cameras. With the new facility, I was hoping for the brighter lights, cameras, the security guards, the human beings, not a, emptiness right by my house. The street that they're referring to by the daycare, I have never seen a kid ever once walk by past the street. Actually, it was dangerous for a kid to be on the street. Sterling sleeps, very busy. So I believe that with the liquor store coming here, it would be safer for the whole neighborhood because of the security, the lights, and I don't know what else to say. I will have no comment.
Thank you, sir. We'll take you first, and then you, ma'am. Name and address.
Evening, guys. Jordan Fink and 4460 Southwest 59th Court, 33314. I'm basically just a testimony to how much I really do care about this community. So yeah, I've been living there for probably around like 6 months, but I grew up in that area in life. So I do care about the safety of my community. So basically, Pearl and her family, they care. I do spy actually that area every single day. I don't see, and I can attest, I see kids just get dropped off and that's it. And then they just get picked up. So I can definitely attest to what you guys are saying. And I truly do believe that Pearl.
01.
What city?
North Miami.
Okay.
So they're saying that there's not enough lighting, there's not enough things. Well, that's a city issue. If they want to put lighting, they can call FPL. They can put more lighting. They can put more signs. They can put cameras. They can put whatever they want. At the end of the day, it's all about the children. There's a zone where it says children walkway, where there's school right in front of the door. At the end of the day, they want to open a liquor store, follow the rules. You have to be at 1,000 feet, go to 1,000 feet. Use a building down the street, use a building on the other side. Doesn't matter if you're close to Sweeney's or you're close to any other liquor store. Really doesn't matter. Competition is great. That's fine. But follow the rules with the competition. If it tells you if the city did an ordinance for 1,000 feet, follow the 1,000 feet. If it says 300 feet, follow 300 feet. If there's a high school and an elementary school, Emerald's Hill, right down the street. I have a 17-year-old daughter. When she goes out, she goes to her friend's house. They drink, they do their stuff. Who knows what they do? They say they don't drink, they don't do nothing, but they're 17. They're gonna come to the school, they're gonna see a liquor store in front. They say, you know what, maybe I can sneak a fake ID. I'm 21, here you go. It happens. We were children, we did it. Everybody's gonna do it. So let's follow the rules. They're not gonna change the walkway where it says school, school, school in front of the door of the liquor store. They're not going to change it. The state is not going to say, oh, we're going to erase this one and we're going to move it 50 feet away from that school. They're not going to do away from that liquor store. They're not going to do that. The walkway will always be there. The drop-off is always going to be there. The cops going to patrol is going to have, you got to slow down, drive 15 miles an hour so you can pass that whole school. And that's where it ends. It ends right at that liquor store. If it ended before and they want to open there, feel free, open. But the walkway is right at their door. You get off that bus, you're looking at the door of a new liquor store. That's all what I'm saying. So follow the rules, let's keep the ordinance straight, and everything else will be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Please, state your name and address, sir.
Six, please.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Here you go.
Could you share a copy with the applicant, please? And you were sworn in, correct, sir?
Well, I lifted my arm, my hand.
Okay.
So,
Please state your name and address, sir, for the record.
my name is Barry Sharp, 1060 East 33rd Street, Hialeah. I feel as though, basically, I was set up for this, basically, meeting. Ana Garcia was explaining about she's concerned about the Broward County School Board, quality of life, and then we spoke about the police, about code enforcement, about the police, and then I spoke to Ms. Morales about the exhaustive police calls for the citizens, and they're also mentioning about the daycare is not a school. It's school, it is a school, and the point is, this sign is from the Federal Department of Transportation. It's not gonna go away. And I'd like to say I'm gonna cover 4 points, basically. Number one, negative press release will do you no good. Is there any advantage in having this? I don't think so, but I'm gonna point out all the disadvantages. One picture, which is this, is worth 1,000 words. It shows a big school sign in front of the subject, and it also has a yellow sign for child crossing. And in the public hearing, Maverick Liquors will basically say, the entrance is follow the little red brick road into the school, basically. There are 3 schools on Sterling Road, not 1, but 3 on Sterling Road. You have pictures of which I'll show. There's studies, number 3, studies will show that alcohol density, that's where the critical thing is. Not 1 liquor store, but density. There's basically a problem of as far as the high concentration. The Seminole Indians are an independent nation. They don't have to go through the permit. Same they did with the cigarette stores. They can open up liquor stores, and then we'll have a bigger problem because they're right next to it. And then unintended consequences, the stigma. Property assessment may go up for 1 property, but they can put anything over there, but the property values will go down for others. I'm going to go over my paper that I gave. Pages 1 through 2, pictures showing that the state school sign. Pages 2A is a sign will remain placed by the Florida Department of Transportation, which is above the county and the city as far as putting a sign there. The subject is in page 3, Sterling, 3 schools. 4 and 8, the map shows us we're only 342 feet between 2 liquor stores. Again, alcohol density. There's 3 governmental governmental bodies, Dania Beach, Hollywood, and federal government. We're going to have a major problem. We have a lot of liquor stores over there. It's going to create a problem for Dania. And they had an opportunity now to deny it. This is your choice. And the board before did not approve it. They just didn't make any motion on it, which is that they didn't approve it. Vagrants will show up. Just because there are no kids now doesn't mean anything. Alcohol density on page 15, 16. There's a study from Johns Hopkins as far as the public health, neighborhood violence, code enforcement, police, stigma, Seminole, and the Seminoles don't need approval. The only good thing is vagrants from our place will have another place to go to. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any more public comment?
Sir, just before you go, are you Mr. Sharp?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you're the property owner of,
It's Seminole Shopping Center, but it's unrelated to this. I'm sorry. I'm the owner of a building called Seminole Shopping Center. Coincidentally, it happens to be the only property that is not owned by the Seminoles, which is privately owned, and I'm on 441, which is interesting.
at 4201 North State Road 7.
Correct.
Thank you.
Hello, please state your name and address.
Good evening, all. My name is Christina Rassi, address 4211 North State Road 7. I am the owner of Sweeney's.
You have to say the address.
Yeah, 4211 North State Road 7.
City.
Hollywood, Florida.
Okay.
33021. Not only am I the owner of Sweeney's on that location, but I also am the owner of Sweeney's at 350 West Dixie Highway, Dania Beach, Florida. I also reside in Hollywood, my residence, and I have multiple locations in other cities as well. And my comment here tonight is that when I, as a young entrepreneur, as I'm expanding my businesses throughout all the cities of South Florida, when I, for instance, went to Miami Gardens, just to give you guys an example, I wanted to open up a liquor store that was close to a school, and I was not in the proximity as well as other liquor stores. When they told me that I had to apply for a variance, I thought to myself, why am I gonna go against what city has already proposed? And when I spoke to council there, they told me, although you could apply for a variance, you probably won't get accepted, seeing that we do not want that type of business in our city because of the crime, the vagrants, and everything else that comes with that. The proposed liquor store had mentioned before that they intend on laying grounds there. Well, I already have grounds there, so I'm actual proof of what goes on every single day when I'm operating my business from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Okay, so I'm having to deal with the homeless. I'm having to deal with underage children on a daily basis. I actually had to implement in my stores a scanner that actually scans IDs because of the level of fake IDs that we have in that neighborhood. I'm telling you, I confiscate over 25 IDs a day, especially on the weekends. So it's not going to help the community. And I believe that, like mentioned before, competition is good. Liquor stores open next to, not liquor stores, grocery stores open next to each other, gas stations open next to each other. It's normal. But I believe that if a business is opening next to it, it should benefit the community, not cause more potential issues. They did state that they would do a lot to help out, but that's not an actual fact. And once it's approved, if that doesn't follow through, then we just cause a lot more issues for the police force, the children, the community. And honestly, as a future mother, although I operate businesses there, I personally probably wouldn't want to even have kids there if this would get approved. And that's my statement. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sir? You're next.
James Jean-Francois, actually, I'm the attorney for Sweeney. My office is at 6100 Hollywood Boulevard, Suite 211 in the duty-free building. So the issue I have now, some of the concern we have in the area, there are multiple jurisdictions. We have the Seminoles. The Seminoles is actually an independent jurisdiction next to the property. And as far as the Seminoles tobacco, they can open multiple liquor stores without any requirement from either the state or the city because they're independent nations. In addition to that, we have the liquor store now that Maverick that is proposed to be open. And across, we have Sweeney, which I represent Sweeney. So now if we have a concentration of several liquor stores in one area, we have a potential of crime. And also when there is a problem, we have possible 3 jurisdictions of police department to know which one that's going to respond, whether it's Hollywood, the Seminoles, or the Dania Police. So that is one of the major issues that is facing that location open there. And also for council to say that a daycare is not an academic institution. This is a basic foundation of education. Daycare, that's where we learn the basic and the foundation. So now with the daycare being there, you have kids and parents. So if there is an issue with alcohol so close within less than 300 square foot, and that is a problem. So the variance they're asking for is the daycare is not even 900 square foot away. It's only 300 or less. And then at that location, follow-up as already stated, there were 3 different schools. So you have middle school and high school. So high school kids literally within walking distance, one is on 54 and 48. So that is less than 10 blocks, even though they may approximately one of them fall outside of that 100,000 square foot limit, but it is proximity so close for high school students to work to the liquor store daytime or between school or during lunch. So this is a issue that we recommend as originally when we have the hearing on, they did not move forward to approve the petition. And at that point, staff had recommended. Eventually, based on the hearing and the information, staff have a change of mind. At this time, they actually recommend the deny of the petition for the variance. So we ask the board member and the commissioners and the mayor to follow the staff recommendation and deny the petition.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Apostolos Moutsatsos, 1450 Southeast 3rd Avenue. I'm Dania Beach, 33004, sorry. I'm a parent and a resident of Dania Beach. And for another liquor store to open, be a disaster because there's too many kids in that area. And no matter what they say that there's no kids passing by, there's basically 3-4 schools around that area. And I have kids in those schools. And there's enough liquor stores. There can be another one in that area because it makes no sense, because it influences the kids all the time, and it's really bad. And bottom line, I'm really opposing this, and I'm keeping it short, and I really don't want this. And I speak for a lot of other parents, and it's a beautiful city, and we're not going to keep on having liquor stores and liquor stores because that's the easy thing to open for people, and it makes no sense for the kids, and it's going to be like other cities. Like I know every 2 feet there's a liquor store. It makes no sense. We're not going to already have a bad image, some cities around the area that have so many liquor stores. So I would like to say no to that, and I don't agree with it. And rules are rules, like they're saying. So please advise, and it's for the kids and nobody else. That's all I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, is there any more comments from the public? Okay, public comment is closed. Now the applicant, you guys can get your time, and then the commission will speak to staff. I'll let them have their rebuttal first.
Good evening. Just very briefly, thanks for the opportunity. I just want to state that you did not hear any competent or substantial evidence in opposition to what we presented. The people that spoke against, 3 out of the 4 of them don't live in the city of Dania Beach. 1 did. They are also, again, from the same organization. We get that there's a school crossing sign there, but we presented evidence, testimony, and pictures that state there are no children. I can't tell you why that school sign is painted on the roadway. If we can have some influence in removing it, we will, but there are no children. The city code allows for the request of waivers. That's following the rule. So we are following the rule that allows us to ask for the waiver. There are some dimensional criteria that we're not allowed to ask for waivers for or variances. This is, which means it's something that's contemplated because the use is permitted in the zoning district. Thank you for your time. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, thank you. All right, Commissioner Salvino, you're up.
Thank you. Could I have, I don't know, Corinne or Eleanor, I guess, come up and say some questions for you, please?
You weren't flashing.
Hi, Corinne.
Good evening.
Good evening. So I'm confused because of some of the information I received earlier today that from the client here advised me that everything was at one time was passed by by the staff, and then they come back and she reads to me these certain things about that the staff did, and I was told that the staff never approved it, and then I find out that the staff did approve it, and the staff rejected it, and planning and zoning never made a motion on it either way, and then there was a lot of people at the planning and zoning, but I don't know how many people were there, and were they city residents, or are they just people opposed to alcohol, were the business people? I think my question is, did you approve it at one time and back it up? Did you change your mind?
So thank you for giving me the opportunity to clarify. The application, the staff report that went to Planning and Zoning Board did have a recommendation of approval. Unfortunately, we had incomplete information at that time. The community outreach component hadn't happened yet. So essentially, the Planning and Zoning Board served as that function because that's when we heard from the public. And there were a number of people who were in attendance. I don't know that they were exactly all these same people, but many of the same faces were there.
Okay, so we don't know whether they were Dania Beach residents or just people opposed to the business. Is that pretty much the answer on that one? Okay.
Yes.
So I think a pretty good square up answer is you do the codes and stating that Hollywood Hills High School and Sterling Elementary are right across the street in the city of Hollywood. Does it make a difference by any state ordinance or county ordinance or city ordinance that because those are within the 1,000 feet, are they not allowed to have a liquor store? Or is it the jurisdiction change when it's a different city?
So the city of Dania Beach has the separation requirement of 1,000 feet. The radius that is in your package shows that 1,000-foot radius. The Broward County Public Elementary and Public High School are not within that 1,000-foot separation.
They're not within 1,000?
No.
They're past.
And as I measured on BCPA, it's not an exact, I measured over about 2,000.
Okay, so they're the public schools that are out
Correct.
there. And does nurseries classify as the same type of a situation?
Not according to the definition of the Land Development Code.
Okay, so there's really none of the schools would interfere with that particular point, so that the
Correct.
argument right now is basically, from what I'm gathering from both the sides, is that they don't want to store there because there's a children walk in the area. That's pretty much the whole.
Well, my standpoint from staff perspective in the Land Development Code is there's a 1,000-foot separation requirement from places of that serve alcohol or sell alcohol, and that's the problem. Is that there's about 500, less than 600-foot separation between these two, the existing alcohol business and the proposed.
But that's
so that's why they're
But that's two different cities.
correct. But that it's within the 1,000-foot radius, and so. While the use is permitted, it's permitted with that separation requirement. So today, essentially, it's not called a variance, but essentially that's what they're asking for. It's called a waiver. So that's what they're asking
So
for.
at that point, we either approve the waiver or we don't because of that.
Correct.
But it's nothing against an ordinance. Is that correct?
Right, the ordinance requires a 1,000-foot separation.
Okay. All right. How did showing the pictures that they've been handing out? How did it's a little bit. It's off the subject of this particular property, but it does question me. With Walgreens right next to Dania Elementary, Publix, selling, where the Walgreens is at, certain things like that. How did all these places get approved next to these schools?
There's a lot of questions. I'd have to be able to research each site to
Okay.
get you those answers.
Okay, and then also, when we start talking about worrying about the children, this is just my opinion. We all go out and we all go to dinner, and we all sit down with our children at our table and have a glass of wine or a beer. And I don't know if that influence on that is any different than what we're talking about by the option of choice to purchase and to buy a beer in a store or buy a bottle, whatever you want, of wine in a store. So the question is then is parental judgment and children being raised or making their own choices, along with the fact that the competition is one thing, and anytime there's competition out there, there's always a question of who wants who. I don't want somebody open across the street from my business or even 500 feet from my business with the same thing, because it does take away from me. But the thing is that we just got done talking about businesses being, starting up businesses in the CRA meeting, and trying to get a business to come in there and fill a building, clean up a building, and so on. So there's a lot of a mixed emotion up here on which way we go with this. But I'm just expressing my opinion and asking questions. I'm sure that you're going to get a few more from the other commissioners, but a whole bunch you just said. So, but you've answered my questions. Thank you, Corinne.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Commissioner Salvino. Tamara James, Commissioner James. It's just
Well,
like Tamara James on
dang,
it, right?
we on
It
first
said
name
it right in
basis.
front of me. Tamara James.
Okay, so thank you. Yes, this is for you, Corinne. So initially, when you just said that there wasn't support from first and foremost, I would have appreciated having all of the information and the backup of saying initially you didn't approve it and now it was approved because, that kind of looks funny. Secondly, you just told Commissioner Salvino you didn't have all of the information, meaning the community involvement, and that's why it was denied. But then you said it was because of the separation of distance. So which one was it?
Well, the separation is the issue. We're here because the land development regulation requires the
Correct.
1,000-foot separation.
Correct, but that wasn't the reason why staff didn't recommend approval, because you said it was because they didn't do community outreach.
Right. So I'll go back to I'm sorry. I'll go back to the reasons for the denial that was made in the presentation, and it's based on the criteria identified in the Land Development Code. So for criteria 2, staff doesn't agree with the alternative measures proposed by the applicant to prevent any adverse impact to the public interest or adjacent properties. And criteria number 3, that staff doesn't agree with the applicant's commitment to avoiding any detrimental impact on the value of the existing contiguous uses in the general vicinity, and the zoning district where the sale is to be located.
Okay, so we'll stop right there. PETA Express. I believe they came to you. I think I was on this board when they came for the waiver of same thing, because they're in the same plaza, sandwiched. A primary school daycare, whatever you want to call it, is sandwiched in between them and another store. I think PETA Express sells beer and maybe wine, I'm not sure, and so does the other place. That was what was provided to us as well. PETA Express has opened while we were sitting here, while I have been here on this dais, and so I'm not sure what the difference of PETA Express and the other place is. I know one's a restaurant, but they still had to apply for a waiver because they are selling alcohol, and they're next door. Like you can touch both places at one time from that. So I have an issue with that. I have an issue obviously with our consistency in what we are approving. I mean, part of our strategic plan is to eliminate slum and blight. It's also a part of what our CRA intends to do. And, even hearing from public safety, knowing that lighting up a place, adding cameras, that goes towards what our values are with safety. Since neighborhood support was one thing that you said was the reason why staff didn't recommend, we see the direct neighbors and the support of them that are impacted by this business potentially being here. This is strange to me because I've never seen so many different residents from different cities come and oppose a business in our city, and in the name of wanting to do things for the school, because I haven't seen y'all at any of the school functions that I've been to in our communities, in our neighborhoods. I do wish that you come out and have that same passion for those things. We have had 4 residents that came and spoke in support of this. I am always in support of our residents and what they want in their neighborhoods that is going to immediately impact them. It just seems that, we had a business that we just approved. I think I was the one that did not vote for it right here on Sterling Road, and maybe Pippin Waiters, that's going to be a hardware store. And I asked for community outreach because that hadn't been done, and staff recommended approval for that, and we voted to approve that. And so I want us to be very, very clear and consistent on what we're doing. Does the gas station that's right across the street from Hollywood Hills, do they sell beer, wine, and alcohol? These are all things, and I would urge all of the residents that came from North Miami, Hialeah, and Hollywood to go and survey your own cities and see if you are having those same things that go along in those. I mean, I personally welcome new businesses. This is a redevelopment, not a new development, and a repurpose of an existing business that I think that we could, potentially make a positive out of a negative. Anytime I see residents that are in favor of something like this, you don't find that often. And so I can't say I'm not disappointed in how this is played out because there are a lot of inconsistencies in what has happened between the staff meetings and planning and zoning to what has transpired now. But moving forward, I would like to see that. And just to point out that the young lady that owns Sweeney's, the 350 West Dixie is right across the street from a church. And so that's very strange. It's right by Too Quick because I grew up there. Grandmother was at 299 Southwest 9th Street, so very familiar with that area. It's right across the street from a church. And so we have to be very careful when we are coming up here making claims and comments to make sure that we are abiding by the same things. And if they are allowed to ask for a waiver, I feel like that's following the rules. We approve waivers for developers and businesses every single meeting. Thank you.
Any other comments? No? Commissioner Davis?
I won't repeat everything that, was just said, but my colleagues made a few good points here. As an educator, when I first heard this particular item come up for the agenda, you think, oh my goodness, you want a liquor store close to a daycare. Absolutely not. That was, my first thought, because safety first, children first, always, every day. But I did have the opportunity to listen. And my major problem and my major concern is the evidence that was presented that we are not being consistent with Olson Middle School and the liquor store that's less than 1,000 feet there. The Dania Elementary and the Walgreens liquor. So I don't know how we say, yes, you can do it over here, but no, you can't do it over here. And so that is my biggest problem, is trying to rectify how we're not being consistent in our decisions for how we allow liquor stores to be close to our places of academia. I don't agree. I mean, I think that as far as classifying and saying that a daycare, I know it may not be coded as school, but to me, children are there. So to me, that is still an important issue, and having liquor close to younger age children is definitely a concern. But I'm more concerned about being consistent in how we apply the code. And, I believe that rules apply to everybody. And when I get upset, it's because, I feel like the rules don't apply to me, but they apply to you. And I believe the rules apply to everybody. So that's where I'm having a difficult time with this decision. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Yes, to speak to that point, you make a very good argument. I forgot your name, I'm sorry, Pearl. And I appreciate that. My concern is that the other stores that you're showing, they aren't specifically liquor stores. They are other businesses that do serve liquor in them. If I'm not let me finish what I'm saying. You're talking about a Walmart, for example, that's in the same plaza. No, wait, let me just finish. You're also talking about a pharmacy that they sell other retail products as well, and there might be liquor that's being sold there. You're also talking about, I think you mentioned a Dollar Tree or whatever, and then another one I think was a restaurant. There is a little bit of a difference, I think, between that and an actual liquor store.
and the presence of that. In my experience, what I have seen, honestly, is that when you do have a liquor store, you do tend to have more problems with vagrants and whatnot. It's just been my experience. And I could be wrong, but it's just been my own experience with it. I have my own concerns about this, but I'm hearing what you're saying, and I do think that you make some very good points. I was at the planning and zoning meeting. I did see the people that came out, and I do fully agree. It was not necessarily about having the two businesses in competition, and actually I think competition is a great thing. I think it really is. I think it's, I still have some concerns though about the overall location and placement of it. I'm having a very difficult time with this right now. I will tell you that, because it does go both ways here. I think it cuts both ways. So, thank you.
Mayor, may I clarify a few things?
Sure.
Thank you. Eleanor Norina, Community Development Director. So I wanted to just address some of your questions and concerns. This is a area in the city that the jurisdictional boundaries are kind of puzzle making. So Hollywood, Seminoles, Fort Lauderdale would be neighbors to the Dania Beach residents. And a lot of Dania Beach residents attend these schools, even though they are in Hollywood. I'm sure the daycare has Dania Beach residents attending that as well. But the issue really isn't about the school or the daycare. It's about the densification of the use of alcohol sales in this area that we know children are in. Yes, they use the crosswalk, they walk to school, they probably walk, I don't know if they walk to Sweeney's, but they walk to the gas station, they walk in that area. So to allow another alcohol that's specific to alcohol sales wouldn't be something we could recommend. And our recommendation did change, yes, from planning and zoning to commission because of the outreach that we received. The first public outreach we received was at planning and zoning board meeting. They had their own public outreach meeting the same night as the planning, or as our commission meeting that they were supposed to be on initially. That's why we continued the item to allow them to have that public outreach. The public outreach, as you heard, was mainly towards the side against, but the Planning and Zoning Board could not make a motion. They could not, as Dania Beach residents, as elected, appointed by the elected officials, they themselves couldn't make a motion to move this item forward. So if they essentially made a recommendation of denial. So that, along with the public outreach, that's why our recommendation did change. So that's why I wanted to answer those couple questions for you. Okay.
Thank you very much. Oh, hold on, Vice Mayor?
The concern is that it's a multitude of the same type of business in that particular, it's the density of the same type of business with the same, I mean, you're not talking about a restaurant and a liquor store. You're talking about two liquor stores in a close proximity to each other.
Correct.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner James?
If there are no other comments, I would like to make a motion to pass, I don't even know where we're at anymore.
Item 10.
Item 10.1.
I have a motion from Commissioner James to pass item 10.1. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a second from Commissioner Salvino to pass item 10.1. Laura, let's call this one to a vote. So this is a motion from Commissioner James to approve the waiver, request for a waiver for item 10.1, and it was seconded by Commissioner Salvino.
Sorry, I thought I heard somebody wanting to say something. I apologize.
No, call it to a vote. Start with Commissioner Davis.
Commissioner Davis.
No.
Commissioner James.
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
No.
Mayor Ryan.
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries 3-2.
All right. Thank you very much, Clerk. And thank you. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for coming out, and thanks for getting all that information out there for us to make a sound decision. All right, up to item 10.1 in quasi-judicial and public hearing.
10.2.
Oh, yeah, okay. We're going to item 10.2, which was 8.3 in the consent agenda.
It's a resolution of the City Commission authorizing the city's application for the 50th year CDBG program in the amount of $177,374 to provide funding for Oasis neighborhood improvements in CDBG eligible areas. This is a public services item.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, City Attorney, City Manager, and City Clerk, and the public, who looks like they've cut out.
Yep.
No matter.
They left quietly though, so I commend them for that.
This should be quick.
Yeah.
Tonight's presentation will provide an overview of the Community Development Block Grant Program, review the areas that are eligible, CDBG eligible within the city, review the proposed project for the 50th CDBG year, and a review of OASIS projects and their common elements. And lastly, we'll have questions. The CDBG program is funded by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, commonly known by the acronym HUD. HUD was created in 1971, and it's for under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act. The Act's primary objective is to develop viable urban communities through modernizing housing by cleaning up slum and blighted areas, expanding economic opportunities for low and moderate income peoples to create a sustainable living environment. And Dania Beach participates in the CDBG program through Broward County. Dania Beach is what is known as a non-entitlement city, which just means that our population is less than $50,000, so we don't get a direct grant from the feds. Broward County administers the CDBG program for all non-entitlement cities and the unincorporated areas in the county. The city's annual grant amount is based on its population. There's a pool of money for the non-entitlement cities, and ours based on our proportional population, which is around $177,000 this year, projected next year. But in the past, it's been in defined census areas. A census area must have greater than 50% households meeting HUD's definition of a low and moderate income housing. So what kind of things can we do with CDBG? What's an eligible activity? Eligible activities are housing, other real property facilities, what's called public services. And a public service is basically what we do. It's a capital project that meets the overall need of the public. Economic development, community-based organizations, planning, and administration. What we can't do with CDBG funds is build a building for general government like a new city hall, because it doesn't hit the low to moderate income areas. General government expenses, purchase of equipment, and purchase of property. Operational maintenance expenses, income payments, and one-time payments. Like I said, the OASIS project, which is a capital construction project, falls underneath the category of public services. The map that you see up here is of the CDBG eligible areas in the city. The dark lines are our city boundaries. The lighter blue lines are the census block and lot areas. Those block and lots that are in the melon-colored areas are the eligible areas. You can see to the eastern part of the city, the CRA, by its definition, meets HUD's criteria for low and moderate income areas. And the other areas are based on census information. So this year's project, or next year's project, we're proposing an OASIS project. And we're looking in the neighborhood of Southwest 46th Place, Southwest 46th Court, and Southwest 47th Street. Those streets running east and west, sandwiched between Southwest 27th Avenue and Southwest 27th Avenue. This is an area between Griffin Road and the Dania Cutoff Canal. And there are approximately 63 homes in this little area. This area was identified last year when we gave a presentation on a 5-year plan to marry our CDBG money and our OASIS projects for the next 5 years. So this is the second project that's part of that 5-year plan. So what is an OASIS style program? You probably all know this, but I'll just repeat it for the public. It can include things on these blocks such as new sidewalks, ADA compliant ramps and crosswalks, paver block aprons, that go out into the person's home right in the driveway. They also serve as a stormwater element because there's a stormwater element that stores water underneath. So you're not just creating an impervious area, you're creating an area that will serve the city well, and it's a resiliency feature. We can have decorative traffic signs, decorative street signs, solar-powered pedestrian lights, which we've done, solar-powered street lights. We've done mailboxes, we've done street paving, and there's always landscaping to beautify the area. Public services staff will meet with the residents, we'll have a meeting and get their input on what elements they may like. I mean, these are the elements that we know of, but there may be something out there which the residents can suggest. But all the improvements have to be in the right of way. They can't be on anybody's private property. Lastly, I want to give an overview of the Oasis projects. There've been quite a few of them. One that we have in planning right now, which is the first of the 5 years, is the Northwest Bird Point project. We'll be meeting with the public soon to go over those elements. What you can see by the map above, the red areas are the ones in the new 5-year plan, and the blue circles represent the old projects by number. Now, it may look a little bit lopsided, but keep in mind that some of these projects were in multiple areas. And you can see that we've done quite a number of projects, and we're looking to do more in the future. We believe this is a viable project for the 50th year application. And with that, I will take any questions that you may have or any public comment.
Thank you very much, Colin. Commissioner James, question?
Yes, I do have a question because I missed part of your presentation. CDBG funds, where are they to be spent? What is the criteria?
It has to be in a census tract that has low to moderate income of greater, 50% plus one of the households have to meet the income criteria established by HUD. It's a low to moderate income.
Okay, and before I know that the application, does it mention anything about the CRA when it's related to the county? Does it say CRA on those applications, or do we write CRA anywhere on there?
We have in the past when the project was in the CRA, because CRAs by their very nature meet HUD's definition of low to moderate income areas that need urban renewal. That's an old term, but they meet the elements that are similar to the CDBG elements.
Okay, thank you.
Can you open it up, Mayor, for the public hearing?
Yes. Before Commissioner Salvino speaks, this is a public hearing. Somebody wish to speak from the public? All right, seeing none. Commissioner Salvino?
City Colby, okay. I just a quick question. Looking at the map and so on, just want to make sure that none of those streets that north of Griffin Road or any of in our drain areas that we're getting ready to do, because it looked like one of them could have been there. I just want to make sure that we're not going to start an Oasis project there when we're going to do a drainage on the street.
So, Commissioner, if I may, through the mayor, this coordination with Colin, our CIP manager, is also at the same time working with Dinser, our city engineer, and Fernando, our public services director, to make sure that everything that we're bringing forward is spread out throughout the city.
Okay.
And everybody gets a piece of this 5-year game plan, but it's also aligned with the CRA and the other areas that are city that qualify.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no planned stormwater projects on those roads.
I just saw the 28th or the 26th.
It wasn't Terrace. It wasn't 28th
Right.
Terrace.
Well, no, I know. I saw 28th
for
Avenue.
drainage.
But I just wanted to make. I didn't know it was north side. I saw it was the north side of Griffin Road. I just want to make sure because I know we have 3 or 4 projects going on out there, and I just want to make sure it didn't.
Yes.
Just in case. That's all.
Yeah, we're coordinated.
Okay, I'm coordinated too.
All right. Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Yeah, I was actually going to say something similar because I know Southwest 27th Avenue, it's low. It starts out a little higher and it goes lower pretty quickly when you get to I think it was 45th, and then it really drops. So that's my only concern is that I know it does flood over there. I don't know. I mean, I do think the area does need some improvement. I do think it
there's a lot of duplexes and stuff over there, so, I think the neighborhood would definitely appreciate it. But it is something to be wary of.
I want to add, we are working simultaneously at the same time to bring forward our first ever storm drainage master plan.
I know you are.
So all this is going on. So we're very aware of all these streets, ensuring that we give the most that we can to the city, and nothing is not working in unison with each other.
I just don't want to see the pretty mailboxes and papers and stuff float away. That's all.
No.
I just know. That's all. Thanks.
Yeah, this doesn't have to do with storm drainage. So you guys have additional sites identified for the future?
Yes.
Because this has been an ongoing plan. So how do you do it? You rank them, basically, or?
Well, we wanted to take one from each area of the city, and by area, there's no definition of area, but we're talking
It's
northwest,
qualified, yeah,
southwest,
okay.
northeast, southeast.
Yeah.
And then there's the areas out west. And so, but not all the areas qualify.
Yeah.
So it's the qualifying area. So we took one from each quadrant that best we thought we could do for about $450,000. So, and eventually I think we'll get around everybody, just not right away.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that. Commissioner James.
Yes, I would like to make a motion if there's nothing else to pass item 8.3.
Okay, I have a motion to pass item 8.3.
Second. 10.2.
10.2, yeah.
10.2 second.
10.2 is 8.3 on the consent. Okay, I have a motion
Yeah,
to pass item 10.2, and I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn.
It's
item
we did
10.2,
eight.
and it was 8.3 on the consent. All in favor to pass item 10.2, say aye.
CDBG, yes.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. All right. We are good to go. Thank you, Colin. Great report. Good to hear from you. All right, up next is our first reading ordinances. So before I start, 11.1 and 11.4 public hearings, 11.2, 11.3 is not a public hearing. So we'll start with 11.1, which is a public hearing. Eve?
Thank you so much. An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28 Land Development Code, Part 5, Signage and Design Regulations, and Article 505, Sign Regulations to update the city's sign code to comply with Florida and U.S. law and to provide technical updates to the code. This is a community development item.
Good evening. Good evening, Corinne LaJoy, Deputy Director, Community Development. This is first reading of a text amendment to our sign code. So the request is to amend and update the sign regulations. Some background information, the sign regulations were last updated in 2010 when we adopted the Unified Zoning Code, which at the time we called the One Code. So it has been a while that we've done an update to the codes. In addition to just the time period that has passed, evolving case law necessitates updates based on, the determination of the courts to make sure we're legally defensible, the regulations that we have in place. So we've taken that opportunity to do that at this time as well. And then there's a lot of updates that are based on development trends and best practices that we're incorporating at this time as well. So the amendments incorporate several changes, really is to be consistent with recent case law, simplifies the application of the code for the public use, allows more types of signs, and increases the allowable size of certain types of signs. So where we can, we've expanded the ability, for those signs. So I'm just going to touch on briefly some different types of signage and the changes that we made. So for window signs, we struck the type of information because the code was specific to what was allowed, like menus or phone numbers. So we struck all that specific information and we just identified the maximum square footage. So it gives a lot more flexibility. Put whatever you want as long as it's within that allowable square footage. For residential signs, we struck the signage by unit type, replacing just all residential districts will follow this. So we don't have to have one type for single family, one type for duplex, one type for townhomes. It's all residential will follow the same sign regulations. Then we even had a category for address signs. So we deleted that and we changed that category or that type of a sign. We now changed the title and it's now going to be considered non-commercial signage. For awnings and canopies, we struck, again, the number of signs that are allowed. There was a lot of detail to letter height, the width, a lot of detail, and we just now simply identify square footage. If it fits in the square footage, it's allowable. So for monument signs, we deleted a limitation. It was actually within the form-based code. there was some limitations to monument signs in the form-based code. It prohibited many of those monument signs. So we struck those regulations, making the regulations consistent within each zoning district. And we simplified by identifying, again, the maximum square footage and height regardless of the lot size. So just trying in an effort to simplify. For wall signs, we making the regulations consistent within each zoning district and simplified by eliminating sign bonuses and language and length requirements. We did actually had sign bonus regulations that nobody utilized, so we're just taking those out. With regards to temporary signs, we removed the bonding requirements that was previously existing for those temporary signs. For political signs, we removed the term political signs, and they're now considered to be non-commercial signage. So we're kind of lumping all these into that category. For special event signage, we're removing the special event sign regulations. That's another temporary non-commercial signage type. For sign variances, there's a separate set of variance criteria for sign variances. Those have been amended, and I believe we're eliminating a couple of those criteria. The sign incentives, as I said previously, we're eliminating that language entirely. We had a regulation for menu signs. We're eliminating the menu signage because now you can fit on in a window sign if you're within the square footage. And instead, we're changing it to drive-through menu boards because we had no regulations for menu boards. So that was something that was needed as well. The text amendment, it's changing city law, so it does require 2 readings at City Commission. This is first reading. Planning and Zoning Board did hear this item in March, and they recommended approval 5-0. And at this time, staff's recommending approval as well. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions? Commissioner James?
Yes, what was the thought behind taking away the temporary sign bond that was also tied to like political signs?
Well, because it's now in the category, I believe, of non-commercial signage, which includes a whole bunch of things. It includes special events and including political signs. And it was more for ease of application on staff's part. If we required all non-commercial signage, it would just be inundated and kind of defeats the purpose.
Is there any type of a fee? What is the fee to have temporary signs? I mean, my concern is, especially during political campaigns, people are going to leave their signs everywhere. They're going to want to clean up. I mean, of course, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'll eat the $100" because it wasn't a lot. I thought that it should have been more than $100 as is, but completely removing it, I don't know how we have stronger language to protect our code department and the people that have to go out and clean up after elections if we allow that to just have no requirements.
If I may, I think one of the reasons that we're not supposed to look at content for signage. That's one of the changes that was made by the the U.S. Supreme Court in a series of cases. So when you are calling out a political sign, what are you doing? You're calling out what is the content of the sign. It's not, and that's really the problem. All the temporary signs, whether it's a real estate sign, a construction sign, a political sign, how we're defining it is by the use, the content. And that is what the U.S. Supreme Court has said is unconstitutional. So they all had to be treated the same. So because they all had to be treated the same, I think that's one of the reasons that staff took out the bond requirement, because a garage sales sign, a temporary sign for, no parking here, all that had to be treated as all the same, which is a temporary sign. And we didn't want to require a bond requirement for those other types of uses.
Why? Staff,
But
I said staff.
if you want to.
That was my
Correct,
comment.
yeah. Keeping
I
track
wanted
of
to-
those temporary signs, we get quite a few, like you said, garage sale signs, banner signs, leasing signs. To have that bond requirement is cumbersome on staff and the applicants as well. So I hear you for political signage, and the code does specify that political signs must be removed 5 days after the election day.
Or else what?
So code will provide a warning to the property owners that the signs are located on, giving them time to remove the sign, and if not within those amount of time, we will cite them accordingly.
And if they're in the swell, then the city's
We'll
responsibility.
remove it.
Is it
So it's against the law for us to require any type of a bond for these types of signs?
We just have to treat them all differently.
Same.
Not treat
All
them
the
all
same.
differently, we have to treat them all the same. So if you want to put a bond, you can, but then the whole category should have a bond.
So garage sale sign or a political sign
know,
or
the needle is
any-
always
Real
any,
estate
any real
sign.
estate sign, you have to put up a bond
If you choose to do that.
if we chose it. No, I'm saying, yeah, it has to go across the board. Is there still a limit on size?
Yes,
Okay, because that's in the ordinance.
correct, and it's per square footage.
Okay, and that hasn't changed.
Not specifically, no. So they can still put the you're talking about political signage
Yeah.
specifically? So they can put it out 90 days prior to the election, which would be August 10th. And depending on if it's commercial or residential, they have a square footage requirement that they stay within. So for residential, it's approximately 3 signs, you know, those yard signs that you put in, approximately 3 of those would be allowed on a residential property. On a commercial property, up to 6 of those smaller signs. But if they decided to put one of the larger signs, it'd have to be within that square footage.
Is it, that's what I'm saying, is it still the same size for the larger signs? I think it's like 8 square feet.
No, it's larger,
It's larger now?
yes.
Why? Yeah. that's-
So for residential, it's 18 square feet. For political, it's 3 square feet typically, but for political signs, they have a bonus of allowing 15 additional square feet during the
For
election.
residential?
For residential
You can have
zone
an 18
properties.
square foot sign for residential?
Or 3 smaller yard sale signs. So if you were a resident or property owner and you were, you know, I guess
Yeah, is
campaigning
there-
for
is
more
there
than
any
one,
way that we could-
one commissioner, you would be able to put more than one of them in your yard.
Yeah, I think that'd make our city look a little silly, you know, with the signs, yeah.
You can keep all the temporary signs all the same, 3 by, what is it, the standard size that everybody has.
Yeah, it's gotta be under 8 square feet for the large one. And then the small one, I think it's 3 square feet.
That's what I'm talking about, the
Yeah.
3 square feet ones.
This one now is 18 square
And
feet.
keep all of the temporary signs to the 3 square feet one.
Yeah, that's,
In real estate,
So if you would make it 3 square feet, a property owner could only advertise one commissioner's yard sale sign, yard sign.
so you
Just
You-
letting you guys understand.
well, you can't have multiple signs. It's 18 square feet if you
If there,
add them all
if there are
up.
4 candidates, you could have 4 signs.
But they'd have to have, no, they could have 3 on a residential property. If they were the small yard sale signs, 2 by 3 is a typical yard sale sign square footage. So if I had 3 of those, that would total 18 square feet and you couldn't have any more than 3. So if you say only 3 square feet, then you're saying that
Just
property
one
can only have
sign.
one sign and campaign for
But
one
you could have,
commissioner.
okay, so you could have 3 separate signs. You could have one big 18 square foot
Exactly,
sign.
yes.
That's what I don't like. Yeah, one giant sign. You know, it'll just look inconsistent. You know what I mean? I think the way our city does it now is pretty well regulated, if you ask me. Only when it comes to political signs. Yeah. So the increase in size, I disagree with. I think you should have multiple. You should have multiple allowed, but it shouldn't be one giant sign or 3 little signs. You know, so it makes it confusing on the residents and the candidates themselves.
Why don't we pass everything but the temporary signs section? Let's bring that back to you.
Well, this is first reading, so we have an opportunity to bring.
That's what I mean, pass it on first reading, just to further explore the temporary
Okay.
signs.
Any further discussion from the commission on this?
Yes, I know that it's a public hearing or not, but I'm not comfortable with the size. I understand that we're handicapped on the bond and all the other stuff from the Supreme Court, but I wish to keep the sign size the same.
Okay, this is a public hearing. Is anybody from the public wish to speak on
And
this
that's my
item?
motion.
Seeing none.
That's my motion.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Your motion was what, move to pass it, but go back and revisit the sign size?
No, my motion is to approve it with the amendment of keeping the size of the old signage the same.
Of the temporary signs.
Correct. Of what it was before.
Okay, so what it says now in the code as proposed, for temporary signs, they're allowed to have 3 square feet on a residential property. During an election, they can have the additional 15 feet. What you're saying is you would want the additional 8 or 5 feet to make it a total of 8 square feet for political signage, as it was in the code previously.
Yeah, whatever was previously, I want that.
Okay, that's what I
The
understand.
same.
Okay, I'll work with the
I'll
city
second
attorney,
that.
bring it back.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Could you call
You want me to clarify?
Yeah, just call it roll.
All right. Just to clarify.
If
what
I
do we-
can, temporary signs will remain the same size as we're not changing the size of political signs or temporary signs from what they were previously.
Correct.
Does that
Correct.
help?
That's my motion.
And I seconded it.
Okay, that's the motion. That's the second. Alora, please call to a vote.
Commissioner Davis?
One second. Go ahead, Commissioner Davis, sorry.
No.
Commissioner James?
Yes.
Commissioner Salvino?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Hold on. It's not letting me get you. Hold on, everybody's. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Yes.
Mayor Ryan?
Yes.
Mayor, the motion carries.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, on to item 11.2. This is not a public hearing.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 21 at Section 21-44 relating to garage sales and the information to be filed to remove reference to the filing information with the city clerk and replacing the reference with code compliance. This is my item. There is no public hearing for this item. In short, our practice is to have all garage sale applications go to the code compliance department, but our code says city clerk, so we're just making that correction to reflect what we actually do in practice.
Okay.
Applications will go to code compliance. That's what we do now. The code says city clerk, we're just striking city clerk and putting in code compliance.
Commissioner James?
Make a motion. Laura, you didn't want that? Okay. Make a motion to approve 11.2.
All right,
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner James. I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. 11.2. 11.3, this is also not a public hearing. Go ahead, Eve.
It's the city, an ordinance of the City Commission amending Article 4 of Chapter 17 relating to noise at 17-80 definitions to be consistent with newly issued case law. This is a city attorney item. So the main point of our noise ordinance that we amended recently relating to the 100 feet is not changing. What we had added some language that was done in Miami Beach because their code had been upheld for many, many, many years, was to the section on TVs and radios, basically adding additional descriptive language. That was recently challenged in Miami Beach and was stricken from their code. So because I found out about the change in the law, I'm asking to strike those few words. Otherwise, the noise ordinance remains the same. The 100-foot distance remains and is still good law.
All right. Thanks, Eve. I think that has been a solid change. Commissioner James.
Make a motion to approve 11.3.
All right, I have a motion to approve 11.3.
Second.
And I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. All right, 11.4, Eve, this is a public hearing.
An ordinance of the City Commission providing for the submission to the electors of proposed amendments to the city charter pursuant to 166.031 of the Florida statutes. Following the City Commission review and consideration of the charter amendments by the Charter Review Board in accordance with Part 1, Article 2, Section 3 of the city charter, submitting the proposed charter amendments concerning calling this special election on the proposed amendments to the city charter to be held on Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, in conjunction with the general election being held on that date, providing for ballot language, procedures for the balloting notice, and related matters. This is also my item. So you may recall a few months ago, I came to you with the proposed language and charter amendments that the Charter Review Committee proposed. I then had one-on-one meetings with each of you. You basically seem to be in agreement with all of the proposed charter questions, and nothing has changed since then. So this ordinance is basically the actual action of the City Commission to put it on the election. So first reading would happen now, after the election happens and the questions are read by the community, whatever their decision is, that's when we do the second reading and final adoption. I think that's all I have to say unless you have questions.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item from the public? Seeing none. Commissioner James.
Make a motion to approve 11.3.
All right, I have a motion to approve 11.3.
Second.
And I have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Are you trying to speak? Commissioners, okay. You're already lined up. All right, good. Well, we're on to second reading now, okay? So we're on our second reading ordinances, and Eve will read 12.1.
Okay, an ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28, Article 265, off-site parking requirements at 265, 185 through 265, 189 relating to electric vehicle charging station requirements. This is a community development item.
Commissioner Salvino, you want to do it?
I took my button off. I make a motion, we pass this item.
All right, I have a motion from Commissioner Salvino.
We do have to have a public hearing
Oh, it
though.
is, sorry. I got excited for your motion, Commissioner. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Seeing none. All right, let's go back to Commissioner Salvino.
I make a motion, we pass item 12.1, Mayor.
All right, I have a motion and I have a second from Commissioner Davis. All in favor say.
No, my button was on.
Oh,
I second it.
Motion from Commissioner Salvino,
We're getting
second from
tired.
Commissioner Davis. Have we got a little life in us? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say nay.
So as we see the end.
All right. The ayes have it. Let's go to item 12.2, please, Eve.
An ordinance amending Chapter 28 at Article 206 Green Building Standards, creating sections 20610 through 20690 relating to implementing the Green Building Standards Community Development, second reading, public hearing.
Good evening. Hi. This is second reading, but the only reason why I'm here is because there was a slight change between first and second reading I wanted to bring to your attention. Publix had contacted us and made a recommendation that in addition to requiring these initiatives to be chosen, that we add a provision that said if the project becomes certified, like a LEED green certification or a green global or another sort of green certification, that perhaps they could be exempt from following all those different criteria because they're probably incorporating it in the project as well. Anyway, so we did add that provision for second reading. So I wanted to bring that to your attention.
Thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none. Any discussion? Commissioner James?
I have a motion and a quick question. A quick question, then a motion, I guess.
Quick question.
You said if they were already LEED certified, they're probably already doing this?
Well, because these are for new construction. So if a new construction were to get certification, they're probably doing a lot of those initiatives already anyway. So we don't have to hold their feet to the fire to meet 10 because they're getting certified.
Okay, but was this for, no, I know, but was this, okay, I make a motion to pass 12.2.
Okay, I have a motion to pass item 12.2.
Does anybody else want a second? I'll second it.
I have a second from Vice Mayor. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All in favor say aye. Aye. All right. Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Clerk. Item 12.3.
An ordinance of the City Commission amending Chapter 28, Part 2, Article 205, Tabular Summary of Site Development Standards for all zoning districts to create Sections 205-11 through 16 to implement the city's Live Local Development Standards pursuant to 166.04151, subsection 7 Florida statutes under the Live Local Act, amending Article 200, the user guide for the code to create 200-60 site plan review procedures for applications pursuant to the new statute on Live Local, to provide for development regulations and administer review of certain affordable housing projects pursuant to state law, creating section 200-61 implementation procedures for site plans utilizing the Live Local Act, and this is a community development item.
Good evening. So this is second reading, but if we're all paying attention, that we've already had second reading, but what we're doing tonight is one of the districts erroneously got omitted. So we're adding that district back. And it's not willy-nilly that the districts are identified. So the districts that are included are districts that are mixed use or districts that have commercial or industrial. This one just was missed. So the district that we're adding is the neighborhood mixed use because it is a mixed use district and it should have been in here from the beginning. So we're adding it by second reading and incorporating it in the text. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner James?
Is this a public hearing?
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Seeing none, Commissioner James?
I make a motion to approve 12.3.
Second.
Motion to approve 12-3. Second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed say nay. Motion passes. Okay, now on to 12-4, please.
I think we want a drum roll on this one. It's an ordinance amending ordinance 2022-10, authorizing the expenditure of city funds exceeding $1 million, which expenditure was proposed to not exceed the project estimate of $18 million, to now reflect the expenditures exceeding that amount due to the inflation of supplies, equipment, and services since the original project estimate in 2019, with to fund bid RFQ 2021-24 Construction Management at Risk Services for C.W. Thomas Park improvements. This is Parks and Recreation, and it is a public hearing.
This is a public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak on this item? Seeing none. Parks and Rec, you guys want to give your 2 cents on this?
Mayor, if I may, I'm putting my Parks and Rec hat, representing the Parks and Recreation Department in the great city of Dania Beach. This is a historical moment. We are reflecting the amended language that includes the inflation of goods and services from 2019 to present, and we ask for your support. Thank you very much.
Go. I'm on, but go.
Okay, Commissioner James.
I make a motion to approve 12.4.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve item 12.4. We have a second from Vice Mayor Llewellyn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. Motion unanimously passes. Congratulations.
Good.
All right. I did it. I said it. So discussion and possible action, none, no appointments. We're on to commissioner comments, and we'll start with Commissioner Joyce Davis.
Oh, let me. Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to try to keep this brief. We know that Earth Day is coming up on April the 22nd from 4 to 6 p.m. We have been working hard with the planning process, and we did get some sponsors this year. However, I did request that staff come up with a wow factor, and that wow factor is going to cost an additional $4,000, and I'm willing to take that out of my contingency. So I'm requesting $4,000 for my contingency to go to Earth Day.
4,000 to go to Earth Day?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have consensus?
I gotta talk to Parks. Do I have consensus? Well,
Discussion?
I believe it's a sculpture.
Oh, okay.
The sand sculpture.
Okay, yes.
It's $4,000 to go to Earth Day? Okay, do I
For
have
Earth
consensus?
Day.
Do I have consensus?
Mm-hmm.
Those trace. All right, I have consensus.
The second item I wanted to bring up for discussion is the artist who created Totor, our wonderful donated sculpture from Nice, France. They are now coming up with a movie surrounding the dog, and they're creating a lot of buzz around the world, and part of the film takes place in Miami, and he is seeking consensus or seeking approval to have us publish the fact that this movie is going to be released. So he's looking to either put it in the Pioneer or have us put it on social media. And so I did give you a summary of what that movie is. My own personal concern, I asked him for a trailer for the movie because I always like to see things before, I give a rubber stamp of approval for something. But to simply publish the fact that the movie is going to be released is what I'm asking. And if we can promote or that we can have publication have publication to the fact that this movie will be released, and it is a donation from Stefan Bolingaro, the artist who created Totor. So, can you have any discussion on that?
Yeah, it looks cool. Commissioner Davis, Jack Black's in it, and CeeLo Green. Right? Do you know when it's gonna come out?
It's, the filming starts in June. I believe the release is expected in December.
Oh
So-
wow, so they're okay.
Yeah, so I mean, they have the whole plan, so it's already, it's got like 6 million, hits in France, and the trailer and the promotion, it's all in French. There is a link to it. I'm happy to share it with you. But we just haven't, he hasn't done it in English yet, but he wants our support, as the dog is here. I have spoken to Eve. There's no legal issues surrounding that, and so, obviously he will keep us updated, but I think it would be a good idea to support the artist that, we have the sculpture from, if you guys are in agreement.
Is there a time for this? Like, are we gonna do it right now, or are we gonna do it, for the promotion?
We can discuss the plan. I would think that it would come out with the publication of the
Yeah,
Pioneer,
right.
whenever that quarterly is.
That's
that
what I'm saying. We
April, May.
should wait for them to have a trailer and everything, to promote the movie more, right?
Right.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if, because the promotion, that's in June. I think they start filming in June, but I think the publication for the Pioneer, you might check with the city manager, comes out before that, before they
Pioneer's
start
coming out
filming.
like next month or so.
Yeah.
Commissioner Salvino?
That's right. Thank you, Mayor. How about, is it they haven't started, have they shot the whole movie yet?
They're starting the filming in
Can
June.
they get a piece of it with Dania Beach behind it or something like that?
I will certainly ask. He
I mean,
loves Dania Beach.
I know. I mean, I just thought, the thing is sitting there, and it'd be a good idea to get. What are you laughing at?
They're filming this movie in Miami, in Florida?
Part of the movie will be filmed in Miami, Florida.
Okay. I bet you they could get that just filtered in. Not to say Dania, but it'd be nice if people say that movie.
You want to
but-
see if he can put
Yeah.
some part of the promotion
Yeah.
for the movie in
Well,
Dania
put
Beach?
it, just like film it there, and maybe if we had a logo behind it, where the people saw it in the movie, they would know where it's at to come and see it.
Well, he's famous all around Nice, France, so I think if we ask for a little shot of the dog somewhere in the promotion, bonjour. All right. Yeah. Okay, in the credits or something.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll ask him. Is there any other requests?
Commissioner James?
Yes, I just want to make sure if it's something that we're promoting, that it's been vetted by staff, if it's okay with the city. I know the city attorney says legally is nothing, but I don't want the movie to come out and we have any concerns about anything that's in the movie. I love Jack Black, but
Well, that's why I said I wanted to see.
I love Jack Black, but he
I
could be a
asked-
little wild
I actually
sometimes.
asked about what the content is, and it's supposed to be Totor having some idea about solving climate change, and he's trying to go to the president in DC to give his great idea. That's the premise. So
That's
the only
very
information.
vague.
Yeah, I know. That's all I have.
So that's my only concern. I mean, whether it's shot in Dania Beach or not, my concern is, us supporting this. And if something came out and it is a scene or anything that we're uncomfortable with, and we've already done that, I don't know how we get past that because they haven't
Well,
filmed.
that's why I
but-
said a general announcement in the upcoming Pioneer, and then I would want to see the trailer before we actually promoted it ourselves.
Yeah, could we wait till it came out and then we could promote it since we have
I think
Totor here?
publication and promotion are two different things, is what I'm saying, though. So we can publicize that the film is coming out, but promoting it in Dania Beach would be something that we would wait till after the trailer comes out. Or you're just saying you just want to wait till everything?
Yeah, I just want, I don't want us to come back and feel like we wouldn't have done this, because it does set a precedent for anything that we've received to go and do promotion or publication or whatever it's called, whatever you want to call it. But I don't have an issue with it. I have an issue that I don't know what it is, what's in it. And so that's my comments.
It's up to you guys. I mean. Okay.
Okay, we have consensus. All right, that's exciting.
All right.
Where do you guys, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner
No.
James. I'm sorry.
Do you have a question about Totor?
It's about movies in Dania. All right, you guys have been on the commission before. Were you guys on the commission when Matthew McConaughey was here filming The Beach Bum? Do you remember that? The Beach Bum? Matthew McConaughey was in here?
love
It was
Matthew
filmed like
McConaughey.
2018 in Dania. It's a cool movie. You see the whole
People
pier,
film
the
at the
marina, and
pier
everything.
all the time. There's movies going on.
Yeah,
There's
so
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, there's stuff going on.
All right, well, we're a popular filming spot, huh? I guess we got to get a little more recognition for that. Well, sorry, Commissioner Davis. Go ahead.
That's all. I will give you some props here, Mayor, in the fact that you did a great job at the Port Everglades Association luncheon. Make us look proud. This is a sold-out luncheon the first Fridays of every month, and so the mayor did a great job of promoting Dania Beach as a tourism, as a destination location, and I think it's good for us to get out as many places as we can and promote our city. In addition, the Autism Awareness Month, I said a little bit, went through the proclamation, but just a wonderful, wonderful feel-good event, and it was just well-attended, and very excited that we're going to be able to have the Dan Marino Foundation here in Dania Beach and continue the relationships that we have with Dania Point and expanding these different partnerships. So I will leave that with my comments, and thank you very much. Any holidays coming up? Passover. Happy Passover, everybody, and good
Ramadan's
night.
ending.
The end of the Iftar dinner. Did we talk about that? Anyway, I'm done. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Commissioner James.
Yes, I'll start off as saying if the mayor doesn't make it in politics, he definitely has a future in stand-up comedy. You were very funny and entertaining at the PEA, and you did a great job keeping everyone entertained and well-educated on the history of our city of Dania Beach. I was honored to represent the city at the college prep celebration from the Jewish Academy that happened at G7 at the new hotel. And I wanted to make an announcement, unfortunately, without cooperation from the school board and the superintendent and their staff, we have to cancel both of our neighborhood meetings. They refused to provide flyers or any type of marketing material. Maxine, the school board, we even made a flyer and they wouldn't approve it or anything. And so I'm not sure where that comes from, but thank you, Maxine. She did a great job working on this. It's very disappointing. It was published, in the newspaper, in the Dania Beach Press. We also had board member Fogenholy, and to his credit, he worked extremely hard making a flyer. And they didn't approve it. They didn't approve his flyer. And so we're still waiting on an approved flyer, and I thought that it cannot. There's no way that we can have a neighborhood meeting tomorrow without being able to promote it and advertise it, and not even sure that Superintendent Dr. Licata was even going to show up. So I am disappointed in the school board. I'll continue to advocate for our schools. I think that is very important that these community leaders show up to our communities and hear what we have to say. And so I'll continue to fight for that. Great having a initial budget discussion with everyone, and I know we have a lot of questions and a lot of ideas, and I'm hopeful that this budget season will go through swiftly and with a lot of great ideas coming from different ideas coming from my colleagues, which is refreshing to see because we all have different priorities and different mindsets. To be able to support each other, I think, is wonderful. And with that, good night.
All right, thank you, Commissioner James. Commissioner Salvino.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to compliment the Dan Marino Foundation on the autism ceremony they had, or the celebration they had over at the Dania Point. Go ahead. You want me to wait? Okay. Okay, go suspend. And I just thought they did a great job over there, and I'm very happy that they're in our city. Also, I just want to remind everybody that don't forget the Dania After Dark this Saturday night for the Barbecue and Jazz Festival. Dania After Dark is becoming stronger and bigger and better, and I have to compliment the Parks and Recreation and all the city employees for all the hard work they do to put it together, because it's not just the event that we're putting on here and how good they are, but I can tell you that just even in my business in Hollywood, and people know who I am from my business and know that I'm in Dania, they come in and they just are so proud of what we're doing at Dania Beach, and they mentioned Dania After Dark and stuff like that, and it's all over. Everywhere you go, Dania Beach is getting known for all the things that we're doing. So just compliments to all the administration and the staff. That's all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner Salvino. All right, Commissioner James, go back to you.
Yes, sorry, I had some contingency requests. Sorry, Maxine, she has my paper here. I wanted to have, since we don't have a second meeting in April, there was a request from St. Ruth Missionary Baptist Church for a proclamation, Mayor, for the installation of new senior pastor that will happen on April the 21st. So are there any issues with that? Okay, thank you. I have a contingency request for $4,500 for the OOO end of the school takeover hosted by Cox Media and 99 Jams. That's DJ Nasty. That's his tagline. $1,500 per school in our city. So that will be Daniel Elementary, Collins Elementary, and Olson Middle School. It will be comprised of an essay contest. They're going to run it for $1,500, provide the entire school with a pizza party, an essay contest, and then when they choose the winner of that, they're going to make them feel very special and have a school takeover. They have the dates, they have everything lined up, and me and Maxine will work with them and give you all the dates of this. This will happen before school is out. This is something that I'm hoping that can go on a continual basis to have Cox Media come in and really be there with just interacting with the school and making it a fun day. I think that's something else that, can possibly attract parents of different opportunities and things that are going on in the school. Do I have permission to use my contingency funds, $1,500 per school to do this? Yes.
Consensus? I see consensus. All right.
And then also, Mayor, whenever they do this, I would like to get DJ Nasty a proclamation from you for doing these
DJ Nasty? Do we have to put that on the proclamation? Could we put his legal name on it?
I don't know.
I
99 Jams say
for
DJ Nasty. Oh. Can we do AKA? I don't even know his real name because that's what it says on 99 Jams. But whatever you're comfortable with doing, we'll work with Maxine.
What's his real name? Like Lawrence Floyd or something?
I don't know. 99 Jams just say, DJ Nasty. That's all I know.
Okay.
That's all I know. I don't know.
That's all I got. Whereas, DJ Nasty.
That's it. That's it. We're going to make sure we record you. Is that
okay?
Is that okay for everyone?
Yes.
Oh, you got to do DJ
I have
Nasty.
final approval on the proclamation, though.
That's fine. And then lastly, we lost a former football coach that was here that served years ago for the Dania Beach. They were the Bulldogs at that time, and they're Dania Beach Dolphins. And so I wanted to, they recently had a service and they needed some help with the expedition of permitting costs, which the same week was $400. And so I'm asking for $400 for that request.
For permitting?
Yes, it's the application because it was last minute. It's a $400 fee from the city.
Oh, okay. Do I have consensus from the commission on that?
Yes,
Yep,
yes.
we have consensus.
Okay, I'm broke and I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner Savino, you already went.
Yeah, I just have
Oh, go ahead.
do we have an appointment for the
school board?
Tell me something. Yes.
The fire police pension, I heard about that too. Do
Yeah.
we have one?
So Carolyn Jones was on there, and since she passed, I was going to request if you didn't have anybody that Al Jones could take her place, her husband.
If it comes up.
Sorry, I should know better.
Okay, yeah, you can bring it back, look into it, just
I'll
something.
check with the board liaison, and I can bring it back if anything in the May meeting
Okay.
for an appointment.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Mayor.
right. Thank you, Commissioner Savino. Vice Mayor Llewellyn?
Very brief. I did also attend the Dan Marino Foundation Autism Awareness Day over at Dania Point. It was wonderful. It was very well attended. And I know Commissioner Davis mentioned that there were a number of different people there. I was very impressed with the fact that it was multiple agencies from different cities that were all there working together. So you had BSO was there, our BSO fire and police were both there. But then they also had Fort Lauderdale Police, North Miami Beach Police. I feel like Aventura, but maybe not. I'm not sure. But I know there were multiple different police agencies that were there, which, it's nice to see them come outside of their jurisdiction and come to our city to celebrate, people with autism. And other than that, I'm just gonna say happy Passover, and I'm done for the night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. It's great to see the commission spread out among our community. Like, we don't have districts, we're at large, and it's safe to say that most of us all of us cover every inch of our city. We don't really particularly have favorites, and it's great to see that. And it's great to see us attend other events throughout the county as well and other cities. Last week was like it was the Port Everglades week for Dania Beach. It was exciting. We did the ribbon cutting for those Super Post Panamax low-rise gantry cranes, which are those giant cranes that came all the way from China across the Panama Canal. And you could please. And that was very exciting. We were with leaders of the county and the port, and then I was invited to give a presentation at the Port Everglades Association. Commissioner James and Commissioner Davis was there. Maxine definitely was there, and she helped me out with the presentation. And that's what our jobs are, right? Is to promote our city and educate those on our city, and have a little fun while you're doing it, right? So our relationships that we have with other cities like Fort Lauderdale and Hollywood and Davie are strong right now, I feel. And speaking of that, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance was at Mad Arts last night. I was able to attend, and it was a wonderful display. Mark Aptekin does a great job, and they're very welcoming, and that's what I do. We want to try and promote our city as best we can. I said, welcome to the greater part of Greater Fort Lauderdale, right? And, another thing that I like to commend the commission on is your activity in the Dania Press. It's great to read the Dania Press and see multiple articles written by multiple commissioners and our CRA. And it's really nice that we're involved and we're showing the community that we want them to be aware of what's going on and from our various standpoints. So I commend the commission on that. Great job. And that's all I have. Thank you guys very much. We're going to have a little break here, and we'll see you back in May. Meeting adjourned. No.